4th down and 6. Olbridge gotta have it. Shotgun formation. Nugent, a lot of time. Rolls out. He's running out of space. Will roll the other way. They look, corner of the end zone. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead. And the props will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, makes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's got a wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Motion man is Simmons. Trotman throwing towards Simmons down the field, and he makes the catch in traffic for a Bearcats touchdown.
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in, here's Yoxon. Yoxon to the backhand, trying to go to the front, makes the move and shot, and he scores!
Gracie comes set and delivers. And that's it on the ground to second. Throw to first, in time, and the ball game is over. South Shore survives a late scare, and they are the 2024 New York State Little League Baseball champions. Live from the sunny Werblin Recreation Center on the campus of Rutgers University, the PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into Night 3 coverage of the 2026 Metropolitan Collegiate Swimming and Diving Conference Championships. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, joined on the call by Joe Calabrese. And Joe, we are in for a very exciting night here at the Mets. The meet is extremely close on both sides for both the women and the men. We'll get to those standings in just a few moments before our coverage opens this evening with the Senior Walk. But first and foremost, Joe, it's good to have you back on the call here at the Mets for Night 3. For the second consecutive year, this is year 5 of our coverage of this meet, year 4 here on PDF. Once again, our coverage for the evening will begin shortly with the Senior Walk. Before we get there, Joe, first order of business, let's take a look at the standings entering tonight's meet. The margins razor thin on the women's side and very close atop the standings on the men's side as well.
Absolutely. First off, Joe, thank you for the warm introduction. Definitely a little more crowded here than it was last year. We love to see people coming out. Last year there was a little snow over the course of the weekend. We're due for it tonight. But as you mentioned here, the margin amongst the top 5 schools over the course of this whole weekend on the women's side of things is so close. Sarah Lawrence College currently at 675 total points throughout the weekend. They are just 33 points ahead of Gordon College's swim team, and then 20 points behind them, it's Roberts Wesleyan at 622, Hunter College at 613, Baruch College at 605, and then you have Mount St. Mary's at 418, John Jay at 344, Brooklyn College at 296, SUNY Maritime at 214. But again, Joe, those margins between those top 5 schools are so thin that any particular race, any particular win may be the difference today.
Yeah, and Joe, we will go over the scoring once again in just a few short moments. But before we do, why don't you tell us how the men's meet is shaping up? And while you do that, I will pull up the precise scoring information and give our audience the breakdown on how the 24 finalist events are scored.
So as of this point over the course of the weekend, it's certainly been a 2-school race. Roberts Wesleyan University, who showed out in a big way last year, they're currently leading with 1,006 total points over the course of the first 2 days here at this meet. Baruch College currently in second place with 943. And then for the 3 through 7, we'll go in sequential order. SUNY Maritime has 576. Brooklyn College has 516. Gordon College has 512. Mount St. Mary's has 264. And Sarah Lawrence College has 17. But again, it's between Roberts Wesleyan and Baruch College at the moment. A 2-horse race here as we prepare for the Year of the Horse that starts this week here. This weekend at Rutgers. Had to sneak the little Eastern astrology nugget in there for you. But yes, Roberts Wesleyan and Baruch, 2-team race.
So it took you about 4 minutes to drop your first astrology reference. I'm sure it won't be the last. We'll be on the lookout for repeating digits all night long. But speaking of numbers, Joe, I mentioned that I would provide the scoring details. I'll do that very quickly ahead of the Senior Walk. 24 places for both the men and women in individually scored events. Scoring is as follows for the 24 positions: 32, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 20, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for relays, those scores are doubled. So with fewer teams a part of the relay finalist field, those scores are doubled. The senior walk is underway, Joe. We'll turn it over to public address.
Eric Goldstein, Michael Guzman, Maxim Karoma, Jordan Lynn, Leo Valdivia, Daniel Vasikov, Daria Vornitskaya, and Kristen Zhao. From Brooklyn College, Zurab Shikatarlashibi, Itala El Kapi, and Himatala El Kapi. From Gordon College, Ella Schisler. From Hunter College, Kara Chan, Mia Chan, Naisha Krishna, Gwendolyn Posner, Grace Follett, and Leah Winter. From John Jay College, Grace Driver, Kira Angleton, Victoria Haxis, and Julia Murray. From Mount St. Mary College, Antonia Liccardi, Angelina Monero, Kayla Nicholas, and Steph Summer. From Roberts Wesleyan University, Joanny Arzayus, Dylan Baker, Brody Baldwin, Emma Dickel, and Jaden Parshall. From Sarah Lawrence College, Ali Abermair, Krista Burgess, Ella Hernan, and Kaylani Toma. And from SUNY Maritime College, Kirsten Argueta. Fans, let's give it up one more time for the senior class of 2026. This time, will you please rise and help us honor America with the performing of the national anthem. Performing the national anthem tonight is Roberts Wesleyan swimmer and diver Brody Baldwin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red
Joe Foreman back with you alongside Joe Calabrese here on the PDF Sports Network. And Joe, we just had our senior walk as all of this weekend's competing seniors were recognized by the Mets Collegiate Conference. As always, they do it right, each senior getting their recognition individually. As their names were announced over public address, they then gathered on the bulkhead for a nice moment of applause and recognition from their teammates, family, friends, and spectators here at the Sonny Werblin Rec Center. Still coming up, we have diving introductions on our second stream. So if you are awaiting the introduction of diving finalists, that will take place on our secondary stream. But Joe, for us here at the main pool, let's run through our program for this evening. Several events coming up, including one that we always look forward to at the end of the night in the 400 free relay.
First things first, Brody Baldwin was the anthem singer. You said 3 for Roberts Wesleyan over the course of the whole weekend.
I believe they had the anthem singer each night.
That's incredible. I just wanted a quick shout out for him. He did an excellent job. Do not know if his family or friends are here at the Sonny Werblin Center. What is this?
Sonny Werblin Rec
Sonny
Center.
Werblin, there you go. But yes, big shout out to him.
At least you didn't call it the tank.
I am repping merchandise.
It's habit.
Right.
It's habit.
But anyway, let's move on. For Sunday, February 15th here, our first 2 races, we're going to probably get the lengthy races out here, right? We have the women's 1650-yard freestyle and the men's 1650-yard freestyle,
and
right?
Joe, just a note, that is correct. Our diving events are reversed. The women will compete in the 3-meter and the men in the 1-meter.
Okay. So we're going to move forward. We got the 200-yard backstroke, the 100-yard freestyle, the 200-yard breaststroke, the 200-yard butterfly, and the 400 freestyle relay, which is incredible at the end, and that will conclude this Sunday here at Rutgers.
It has been an electric weekend here at Rutgers University. As always, we are proud to be a part of it here on the PDF Sports Network, and still plenty of work to be done. We have our A final in the women's 1650 free. B finals were conducted earlier at approximately 3 p.m. If a swimmer that you wanted to see compete was a part of that B final, we have that for you here on PDF. That was streamed live at approximately 3 p.m. But Joe, as the swimmers take their positions at the starting blocks, let's meet the swimmers.
Yeah, so starting in lane 1, we have Molly Nettles of Hunter College. In lane 2, we have Arwen Hefner of Gordon College. In lane 3, we have Harper Yingst. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, I don't want to keep apologizing for name pronunciations. Of Gordon College, she's in lane 3. We have Grace Villette of Hunter. She's in lane 4. We have Cara Pelletieri of Roberts Wesleyan University. She's in lane 5. Ava Greengrass of Sarah Lawrence College. She's in lane 6. We have Emma Brohl of Gordon College. She's in lane 7. And Emily Bogue of Roberts Wesleyan. She's in lane 8.
All right, thank you, Joe. And taking a look back to this event in last year's meet, it was Cara Pelletieri who took the win. As you mentioned, Joe, she is swimming out of lane 5. Grace Villette with the top seed time swimming in lane 4, and we'll pass along those seed times for you. I mentioned the B final conducted earlier in tonight's A final. Our seed times paced by Grace Villette. Her seed time nearly 40 seconds ahead of her next closest competitor. That is Cara Pelletieri, of course, last year's winner in this event. Villette posted an 11:13.69, Pelletieri an 11:52.15. Beyond that, every other swimmer in this heat posting a seed time greater than 12:25. Harper Yingst, 12:25.16. Rest of the competitors, last name only. Greengrass, 12:46.68. Hefner, 12:57.55. Nettles, 13:18.09. Brule, 13:12.75. And Bub, 13:23.39. So those are the seed times we are looking at entering this A final in the women's 1650 free. And Joe, this is always one of the most challenging races to call, but we have a lot of things to break down, including how important this race is going to be for a couple of teams near the top of the standings. In case anyone missed our pre-meet coverage, we will run through the standings again. Sarah Lawrence, represented by Ava Greengrass in this event, they lead the standings right now on the women's side. 675 total points for the Griffins. Gordon College in this event, represented by 3 swimmers. They are in second at 642 total points. Hefner, Yingst, and Brule, all representing the Fighting Scots. And you know, Joe, when you have 3 swimmers in an A final, that is a huge boost to your score, of course, but they're not the only ones with multiple swimmers. Hunter College, Roberts Wesleyan, wouldn't you know it, they're 4th and 3rd respectively. They each have a pair of swimmers in this A final as well.
That's right. Those 3 schools of the 8 swimmers that we have in this race comprise 7 of them. And as of right now, in the early stages, Joe, this event has gotten going so far. We're going to be looking to the middle lanes at the moment.
Well, this event, and when you look at the top 8 in this A final, it's really a microcosm of how the meet has played out so far. The top 4 teams all represented, and represented by multiple swimmers at that, with the exception of Sarah Lawrence. But the Griffins, as I mentioned, the leaders entering the night in terms of total points. So a lot on the line in a race like this where the top 4 teams are all vying for those first place points. I mentioned the scoring before. In case you missed it, relays are worth double points as opposed to the individual events. And early in this one, Grace Villette with a lead of about a body length, but that could change several times. It may not change at all. And given Villette's seed time, we would expect her to perform very well. And I think the big question mark entering this heat is whether or not Cara Pilateri can make up what was a major differential in the seed times and reclaim, or I should say, protect her crown in this event. Reclaim, retain, protect, all the same.
So we're waiting for the times to come in on the big board at the moment. Seems there's about a second, a little less than 2 seconds, right, separating Villette and Pilateri at the moment. Greengrass of Sarah Lawrence College, she's currently in 3rd over here as Villette beats Pilateri to the last touch that we just saw.
Well, I think what most have their eye on in a race like this, a 1650 especially, are those split times. Where do they trend? And more often than not, if you're in competition for a first place finish late in the race, those seed times will trend downward. But we've seen it in the past where swimmers have come out posting their best seed times only to slow down a bit later. So it's a different approach for everyone in the pool, and it's always interesting to see how those seed times progress for each swimmer as we go. And it's very early now, a bit too early to track those trends, but when you get closer to the midway point and a bit closer to the finish, then you can start to observe those trends a bit more clearly.
Yes, absolutely. As of right now, we are about, what would you say, about a quarter of the way through this race, so still a lot of race left to go. Based on last touch times, it is still Villette who's got a little bit of an edge on Pilateri, not by much, though.
Well, I always joke with Nick that you have to brush up on your swim math, but we're looking at those numbers on the placards getting up over 60 by the time we're done with this 1650. So we are closing in on 20% of the way there, just about. But it really depends on where you're going by. You're going by the leader's pace, or you're going by swimmer's pace?
That is the logic that I was going with based on Pilateri's time last year that won this event.
So you're looking at it in terms of time.
Right.
Now, if you compare her winning time in this event to her seed time, last year they have her listed on this sheet with an 18:42.10. So that is obviously incorrect. Not exactly sure. Oh, okay, the seed times are for the 1,000. That would make sense. The seed times that are posted are extrapolated from the 1,000.
Right.
So you'll have to take what I said before and do some more swim math. We've had this conversation
I'm sure there are plenty
just
of
about
people at
every year,
home who are
Joe.
ready to do some swim math.
Well, those who are very attuned to those changes when it comes to the meet sheet and the seed times probably pick that up right away. Technically, I was correct. Those were the seed times. However, those seed times are extrapolated from the 1,000. So the record in this event is 16:27.43. Now, last year, Cara Pilateri's winning time in this event, 18:42.10. So if you go by that, we are approaching the quarter mark.
That's right. And as of that last touch, Joe, there's a little bit of distance that looked like Pilateri was able to close in on. There's just 5/10 separating both swimmers at the moment. So, again, we're still, relatively in the early stages of this race. But based on what we saw here on our sheets and the seed times coming in here, as of right now, this race is predominantly playing out as we've expected thus far.
And speaking of our expectations, my guess, and I don't know this for a fact, but potentially in between the two 1650 heats, we will meet the diving finalists. Right now, the viewers on our diving stream are listening to you and I call this race, if it's picking up the ambient noise, but their camera is situated on the bulkhead right now, which is where those diving introductions take place. I would suspect that either following this heat or following the men's heat in the 1650, we are going to meet the diving finalists. So stay tuned for that on the diving stream. If you can hear us, and on the main stream, you will get those introductions as well, though our bulkhead is just outside the range of our camera's frame.
Now it's just 3:10. So on that last particular stretch, 34.37 for Grace Vallette, 34.64 for Cara Pelletieri.
They are just about stroke for stroke, headed for the touchpad. And when you're in a situation like this, a race that, of course, goes on for well over 15 minutes in this case, do you glance over there from time to time? How much attention are you paying, or are you just focused on your own pace? Because
it's like deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
We had a very similar conversation to this last year. So I guess from a competitor's standpoint, right, and when it comes to swimming in the pool, so we do other work, obviously, for listeners who have followed the PDF Sports Network and the other types of event coverage that we do. When I'm in the pool elsewhere, that's my luck.
All right, Joe, we had a brief internet outage. We have had these throughout the weekend. First time it has happened with us on the air. They may have heard you and I discussing it briefly as we got back on fairly quickly, but we pick up the 1650 free at, I'd say, about the 40% mark, and not much has changed.
Not much has changed.
Not much has changed during the brief time that we were knocked offline, as it is Grace Vallette with a very narrow lead over Cara Pelletieri.
According to the big board here, I mean, there's not really much of a lead. 1/100th at the moment.
Well, during that last split.
During that last
an
split.
Overall lead of just over a second.
Just over a second. So she was able to cut into that lead even further. What I was getting at before we went offline, from a competitive standpoint, I think it's very hard, especially with your mechanics, not to really take glances of the swimmer who's immediately in your left and your right. Obviously, the middle lanes have that advantage, not so much the lanes 1 and 8 here. So from that perspective, I think it gives you a little bit of a jolt. And again, I swim, at the other college that we work for. So I'm never non-competitively, of course.
You and I very much non-competitive today. In every sport we compete in. Basketball at the top of the list right now, but it depends on the season. I'll have to get in the pool one day and see what I'm made of. I've called enough swim meets now where I think I have to give it a shot.
I said last year when we were here that the atmosphere, and it's I would say the lighting is definitely different than it was last year. Last year it was a little dim, so don't know if that was the snow that fell last year contributed to that. But again, being here and seeing all the swimmers and even seeing the diving situation to the left, you see the other swimmers in the other pools. You see all the parents and the friends. It kind of gives you that itch to want to get in the pool, and last spring I was able to do so. So didn't do so in the winter months. Got to continue that as the spring comes. But yeah, so far so good.
There are two sports that I've called action for that I have not ever played in any capacity. Hockey and swim.
Right.
So I think we need to check those off the list at some point. Hockey's probably not going to happen. I was on skis one time. It did not go well for me. I don't plan on getting on a pair of ice skates, but I think to swim in an Olympic-sized pool once and see when I go completely toast, I think that would be an interesting experiment. A one-time experiment, but
at the very
worth
least,
it for sure.
It is significantly just unbelievable amounts of exercise. It is quite possibly maybe the best thing that you could do for your body is to get in the pool and move in the water. Whether you do so, again, like the swimmers here, from a competitive standpoint, but it's basically the healthiest thing you could do.
May have to give it a try one day and hopefully not embarrass myself too much. Meanwhile, if you take a look in lanes 4 and 5, the lead for Grace Vallette has extended to about a body length here. So we will see if she can maintain that the rest of the way. Still plenty of time as we have crossed the midway point now. Vallette and Pilateri both have placards at the end of their respective lanes showing 39. So we've crossed that midway mark.
Vallette's still with just south of a 2 full second lead.
At any point, has Pilateri come in ahead of her on the touch? I don't believe so. If it happened, it was when we went offline. But
I think it happened in the very early stage of this race, probably one of those first few laps. And from that point on, Vallette put a little bit of distance. And again, she hasn't really put significant amounts of distance. From our standpoint, what we've seen from those two swimmers in lanes 4 and 5, as of now, Vallette's biggest lead has been essentially a full body length, half a body length, right? Which hasn't really been able to do much more besides that.
I think now is about that time as we've crossed lap 40 where we begin to look at those split times, particularly in lanes 4 and 5, where it appears this race is going to be decided. And based on the seed times, that was our expectation coming in. There's always room for surprises in an event like this, but it appears this race will be decided out of lanes 4 and 5. And when you get a look at those splits, very similar. We'll see where those numbers trend. We're right around the 35-second mark now. Once again, Vallette is going to be first to the wall on lap 43. And when you get closer to the finish as well, the details, like the underwaters off the turn and who begins to excel in each direction, things that you need to keep your eye on. It just seems to me anyway that some swimmers get much more of a burst off the wall, and some just seem to excel a bit more than others coming off the touch pad.
I think there are other factors that play into that as well. I tend to think that the larger the extension that you have, right, if your wingspan is significantly more, for some people that plays to their disadvantage because they don't necessarily know how to use that within the pool. For others, and again, this is a very extreme example, but you look at Michael Phelps, right? The reason why he was able to perform so strongly through all those Olympic events is because of his wingspan, and he's always talked about that in interviews. So again, for some people, it operates a little bit differently, you know, depending on mechanics, when you started, right, how you learned how to swim, and for others, it's the other way around.
Well, for those who don't know, you along with our PDF colleague Nick Durst, the hosts of an award-winning podcast, you know I'm right. Any swimmers? I know you've had Olympians. Have you had swimmers?
Murphy. Ryan Murphy's been on with us. I'm trying to think. There has been, I think, one more at some point. Going to have to try to think back into the memory bank for that one. And that was years ago. And we've had a few Olympians on with us. Big shout out to our friend Danny Kasper, who's on the United States curling team that won against Sweden earlier today. But yeah, so we've had a couple of Olympians, including Murphy. He was super cool. Did a really great interview with Nick in the early stages of the podcast. Definitely have to try to see if we can grab another swimmer or a diver at some point here in the next couple of years.
Well, we have an interesting development in lane 6 as Ava Greengrass has lost her swim cap. It is floating in lane 5. It's right up against those barriers between the lanes. Probably can't see it anymore on our camera, but her swim cap ended up in lane 5. And that has to make things a lot tougher, especially with the longer hair.
So now we're starting to see some action here. And for the most part, it's been Grace Vallette who has maintained the lead. And it seems like on this next touch, we're going to get confirmation that it seems like Cara Pilateri, has she overtaken Grace for the lead?
Yes, she has.
Very close.
Yes, she has.
By what, 11?
1/10 of a second.
1/10 of a second, by .11 to be
or
exact.
swim math.
Right.
Yeah, when you start to get into exact, then it goes a step further than swim math.
And it was very easy to decipher that because we have a lot of spectators immediately in front of us who are making noise, very supportive of their swimmer here in lane 5.
We're about 2.5 minutes from the finish here, by my estimation. It is Pilotari with a narrow lead over Villette. And her lead is growing to about a body length, approaching the wall. And based on the seed times, and again, you know, seed times taken from a 1,000, this is 165% of that. So
That's right.
This is a much different event.
Very different.
And a swim this long is the reason why there aren't prelims.
Also calls into question, right, when you're an athlete, especially a swimmer. Some people disagree with this, right? I think for some athletes in particular, they do have that button. That's like an on and off button, and it's not necessarily coasting, but you can figure out a way to turn the on button on when you need to.
Some might say broadcasters have that too, Joe. Especially,
Who says that?
Especially when you call, 4 events in a day, maybe more.
I wonder
That's
who
hard
said
to
that.
do. I'm a machine. We'll put that to the test when I get in the pool. I won't look very machine-like anymore. I'll be rusted quickly. The lead for Pilotari, just shy of a body length, entering that most recent turn. And she maintains the lead, headed back for the touch pads. She comes in just north of 0.3 of a second ahead of Villette. Those split times still hovering between 34 and 35. Joe, we're at that point where I think if there's going to be a trend in either direction, now's the time we're going to see it. I would probably expect those seed times to begin trending downward here.
A lot of noise currently being made in the stands as we prepare for the final stretch of this race. Again, the first race here, Sunday, the women's 1650-yard freestyle.
And based on what we're seeing right now, Joe, this is going to be a really tight finish.
Yes, it is. Pilotari started putting some distance between her and Villette, but Villette we're just about a shoulder length between the two swimmers here for 1 and 2.
And almost identical
Now
coming
we're
out of that last
in a
turn.
dead heat.
Yeah. Well, this is it, Joe. The final 50. It is not often you get a race of this distance coming down to the wire like this. This is going to be a treat to watch, and you can see Pilotari turning it up as she heads for the wall.
Yeah, I think on that last wall touch, she put about half a body length between her and Villette in lane 4. She's doing the same thing here.
The Roberts contingent to their feet, Joe. And it looks like Pilotari is going to defend her crown as her lead grows beyond a body length. And she makes the final touch at 18:53.57. A great effort by Grace Villette as well. And Joe, look at those splits in the final 50.
That's the good stuff, Joe. We love to see that.
Taking a look back toward the other lanes, it doesn't appear that the race for third is going to be too close, but we are still a bit away from that. Taking a look down towards lanes 2 and 3, trying to get a look at those placards. We had our attention focused on lanes 4 and 5, where it was clear the winner would come from. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harper Yingst is closing in on the finish out of lane 3. Yeah, I think she could be entering the final 50, but typically there is a timekeeper waiting closer to the starting block around that time, so I might be mistaken. No, I think I was right, Joe. I think she is entering the final 50 here. She is. So the timekeepers will make their way up out of their chairs and head to the starting block in lane 3.
So it seems like Pilotari, would she finish 18:53, which is about, based on our times from last year, the 2025 finish?
She was just north of 10 seconds behind.
That's right.
And that goes to the conversation we had earlier, Joe. How much of what you're doing in the pool is based on what's going on in the lane next to you? And you hate to frame it that way in terms of what your competitors are doing, but if you know what it's going to take to win based on what you see to your left or to your right, overexerting too early could cost you, and there's no reason to do that if you feel good about where you stand and you're confident that during the final 50 you can turn it up, and both swimmers did just that. Pellettieri just did it a bit more.
And as you were talking, Harper Yinks of Gordon College officially finishes third in this race. So once more, we'll do the top three here. Cara Pellettieri defending her crown from last year with a time of 18:53.57. And second was Grace Villette of Hunter College at 18:54.81. And then third will be Harper Yinks at 20:35.54. So I have 5 swimmers who are in the midst of completing this race, but we do have the top 3, Joe.
We're going to have a top 4 very shortly. Believe that in lane 6 and 7, Ava Greengrass and Emma Brule are headed for their final touch. And you have to wonder, Joe, how losing the swim cap could affect Greengrass in lane 6. She has 50 more to go.
You know, I was thinking about that before, and I forgot to make commentary on that. For a guy, it's probably different. For a girl with the long hair, probably.
You can see it's draped over her arms with each stroke. It can't make it any easier, that's for sure.
Not.
And I'm, never had my hair quite that long. Never had my hair quite that long. We're getting there, but we're not there yet.
You have a little flow to you.
Yeah,
Not as long as Greengrass, but you got some flow to you.
No.
So we have Emma Brule, officially her final time of 21:44.38. Gordon College finishes in 4th. Arwen Hefner of Gordon College with a time of 22:05.17 in 5th. Molly Nettles in lane 1 of Hunter College. She finishes with a time of 22:23.34. Ava Greengrass, who lost her cap, of Sarah Lawrence College, she finishes with 22:28.28. And that will leave Emily Bubb in lane 8 from Roberts Wesleyan. She's our last swimmer, and I believe she's in her final stretch, Joe.
And we should have given the times a quick multiplier before we started. Give it the old, seed time multiplied by 1,650.
Is there an app for that on the iPhone?
Well, calculator. The problem is you're multiplying time.
Right. There has to be a time multiplier app in general.
For sure.
In terms of swimming and diving, I think that's a brilliant idea, right? I'm sure somebody else has had that idea, right?
Don't tempt me with a new business venture, We have online sales. We have ticketing sales. We have broadcasting. They're trying to track down the swim cap.
Wherever it went.
Well, it should be floating right along the barrier. There it is.
I see it. It's by the S in the Rutgers. From our vantage point, it's by the S in the pool. For some people, I think it's between the S and the R.
I think we underestimated how difficult it is for someone in the water to find it.
I also think we downplayed how difficult it is for the women's side of things. When you do lose your cap and you do have some length to your hair, how difficult it is to finish, because Greengrass, she was on a pretty solid pace, and I think losing her cap probably contributed to where she finished.
All right, so no diver introductions yet. I would suspect that will occur following the men's heat, but it is time for the A final in the men's 1650 free. The board is populated. Joe, let's meet the swimmers. And if I recall from night 1, that is Ethan Toronto. I will check that for you momentarily.
Thank you. He's of Mount St. Mary's. Again, I'm going off what I see on the big board, right? So we have Leo Valdivia of Baruch College. He's in lane 2. We have A.J. Merced of Roberts Wesleyan. He's in lane 3. Roberts Wesleyan here occupying lanes 3, 4, and 5. In lane 4, it's Tanner Pinto-Cone. I believe we saw him last year. Derek Woodford in lane 5. Greg Tarantiev, Baruch College. He's in lane 6. Matt Klimek of Maritime. He's in lane 7. And then Joseph Scarola of Mount St. Mary's. He's in lane 8.
And Joe, I did confirm that is Ethan Toronto in lane 1. We had the same dilemma on night 1, but we're quick learners here on PDF.
That's right.
Just a quick referral to the roster sheet, and we're good to go.
We have everything needed for us to succeed right here.
Well, hold on a second. I think we could use a third body. A broadcast engineer to manage 2 streams at once and populate the graphics.
Luckily, I have a guy just in mind.
Please tell.
So, has Nick Pavona, because we know Nick Durst has done this event for the last several years.
Nick Pavona has not.
He's never done this, huh?
No.
So, huge shout out to Mr. Nick Pavona. I think that's something maybe we can explore in the future here. That's something for you and Dave based on the scheduling and everything. But I also want to shout out Nick because he is a friend of ours. He's an awesome broadcast colleague. He's done a variety of events for PDF, who's got the partnership here at Rutgers with the Met Championships. He got to a car accident. Thankfully, it wasn't significant as the race is now.
His car would disagree, but he is okay.
He is okay. So thankfully, he's okay. Very special shout out to him. Hopefully, he does one of these events moving forward because it's a lot of fun as the race is underway, Joe.
Well, I mentioned yesterday he heroically emerged from the wreckage and back into the broadcast booth for our basketball games yesterday. And in my absence, while I was here, he covered the second game.
Admirably.
And if you can find that game, you can hear the music blaring over the speakers here at Rutgers in the background. It is quite the listen. But the energy level here at the Sonny Werblin Rec Center, top-notch all weekend. And I think when you're in the early stages of 1650, the student-athletes, the family, the friends in the stands, they save that energetic burst for that final 100, that final 50. And the building gets a bit quieter when these races just get underway.
Absolutely. So I don't think we went into detail too much about this. Let's talk about the seed times here for this particular race. Again, like the first race, how we were looking at lanes 4 and 5, it seems like everything here as of this moment is concentrated amongst lane 3 and 4 and 5 with those 3 male Roberts Wesleyan swimmers.
Well, an event like this where you have 3 swimmers occupying lanes 3, 4, and 5, that is huge in terms of separating yourself from a team like Baruch that is battling you for that top spot in the standings on the men's side. And even though the Bearcats only have 2 swimmers in this event, winning becomes that much more important now. If they can pull off an upset out of lane 2 or lane 6 and even maybe secure first and second place points, easier said than done given the seed times. But keep in mind, Joe, the seed times come from the 1,000. That is not the same event. Very different. This one, a much greater test of endurance.
Which is why we need that calculator app. So somebody please get on that for us.
It doesn't really matter, though, because you look at it and it's not the same event. You can calculate where you think they should finish based on pace.
Right.
But
you can never really actually.
You never really know.
No.
Never really know.
There are too many factors to really, extrapolate the totals in any one particular direction.
I dropped 30 in NBA 2K. I take the court in real life. I'm lucky if I hit double digits, Joe.
I think that's a little bit of an apples-oranges comparison over here.
I don't have quite the coordination with a basketball in my hands that I do with a gaming controller. Now, do we make our games a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network moving forward? No.
Interesting.
I'll answer that for you, no.
Well, I was going to say you were definitely not going to get approval from somebody else, so it's not happening.
The funny thing is I would get approval for sure.
Really?
For sure.
Interesting.
For sure.
Interesting.
If the league entered into an agreement with us to carry all of their games on the network, 100% it would be approved. 100%. That's unique. And that's the kind of coverage that people want to see done the right way. And I think that's part of the fun of what we do and part of the importance of what we do. Events like this get professional level coverage at a fraction of the price, and it makes it a reasonable lift for these organizations to bring us on. As Joe is taking it all in, about to share a social media post of he and I covering the action tonight. But organizations like the Mets Conference, they get a chance to bring a broadcast like this to audiences that aren't able to attend and that want to go back and relive these moments. Student athletes go back and watch these events to take in some of the highlights of their careers. And acknowledging the live chat, the 200-yard breaststroke event already took place. No, that's Friday. Where is tonight's meet sheet? Did I give that to you, Joe?
I believe you did.
It's over there.
It's over there. It's underneath.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of paperwork. 200 breast is coming up a bit later. We have The 200 back, the 100 free, and then the 200 breast.
That's right.
I was about to say, that's not tonight's sheet.
Let's do a full recap for everybody, right? So after the 200 breast will be the 200 butterfly, and then we have the 400 freestyle relay. So again, just to confirm with people who are inquiring about that in the live chat, again, we have our official Sunday, February 15th sheet in front of us.
Well, you call it official, Joe. I don't know what happened, but at some point a document was shared that did not have the updated start times for the prelims. So I showed up here much earlier than I needed to yesterday, and I'm thinking, I got to get back to Staten Island. And they hadn't started. And finally, they started at 10:30, which is now reflected in the document online. I don't know where my document came from. This meet wasn't the same dates last year, was it? I don't know if you have that.
This event is usually the second weekend in February.
So pull out that calendar app, see where the second weekend of February fell last year.
Let's go back. Let's go back into the memory bank.
Right, as you do that, I will.
It was the 15th and the 16th. So I was here on the 15th and the 16th, I believe, last year,
so
that
it was 14,
Friday.
15, 16?
Yes.
Okay.
So it started on
So
Valentine's Day,
not
which
the same
is
dates.
right.
My least favorite pagan holiday.
Well, I was going to say it's a fictitious holiday. It
Well,
shouldn't exist.
I said it's my least favorite pagan holiday. Close enough.
Oh.
Sorry to all of our celebrators. Is that what we call it?
Who took part? I actually drove into Manhattan last night. Very quick story. My parents split when I was young, so my father lives in Manhattan. And I tried driving into Manhattan yesterday. When I tell you, it was one of the worst in-driving experiences I've in my whole life. That particular day yesterday, between the road work and the people traveling in on the holiday, I would not recommend going into Manhattan on Valentine's Day moving forward to anybody else who's listening and watching.
I concur. And maybe that's a big reason why the driving that we had such great viewership last night.
Well, we always have great viewership for this event. This is one of the more popular events that PDF does, and you guys do an excellent job with it.
Thank you.
I'm very complimentary. What do you want me to tell you?
You are.
I tell the truth.
You're
you're
a shameless self-promoter.
Listen, I cannot. I'm like George Washington. I cannot tell a lie.
Ah. I was about to say prior to our opinion on Valentine's Day traffic that in last year's event, Tanner Pinto-Cone did win it with a time of 17:12:32, the all-time record set back in 2017, 15:40:92. And Pinto-Cone, true to seed time and true to his effort last year, remains far and away at the head of the field, posting seed time sub 31. And if you look at the other lanes, you're seeing seed times 34 seconds plus. So a huge differential there.
Yes, if you could do simple math, which we can do, which we confirmed a couple minutes ago, essentially he's working on a pace that's about 2 to 4 seconds faster than most of the other swimmers in this race, including swimmers from his school.
Well, our audience hears you talking about the simple math. If you can do it, challenge accepted.
I wish I could do this. Again, I can swim effectively and good, but my cardio and stamina in particular, I was always more of a sprinter or a short burst type of athlete as opposed to a distance or a marathon athlete. And again, when you're doing the 1650 yard over here, I mean, this is we got the first 2 marathon races out of the way early here.
Well, beyond this, our program moves a lot more rapidly. And taking a look down our meet sheet, we have a couple of events moving forward with just a couple of finals, with just a B final and an A final. In fact, it may be just one. That might be the men's 200 back and the women's 200 back. So B finals and A finals only in those 2 events. The same goes for the 200 breast on both the men's and women's side as well. So we begin to move very, very quickly after this. And before you know it, Joe, we'll be announcing the winner and finding out who our award winners are as well. So plenty more to come here on the PDF Sports Network. We'll be with you through the conclusion of the meet. We'll stick around for all of the award winner announcements and the celebration from the 2 winning teams that will take the plunge into the competition pool here at the Sonny Werblin Rec Center. We'll, of course, have a break ahead of the relay as well. We could get a break following this event, too. The breaks are not noted on our program sheet here, so we'll see.
Those kind of come a little more abruptly.
I also should mention that we have a sponsor for this event, and we had a couple of those over the first 2 nights here at the Mets. But your biggest fans, 1650, equivalent to the Distance Divas, Love from Mom and Charlie, the sponsors of this event. Unfortunately, we don't know who that message is addressed to. I'd love to share.
I would love to share that too.
But 1650 equals Distance Divas. That would not be us, Joe, unfortunately. We'd be tapped out at what? If we're lucky, 150?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm trying to think how many laps. Yeah, about 150. That seems about right.
When we take the court, they call me the 36-minute marathon man. I play the whole game, 2 18-minute halves.
How is that possible that I was like a +1 or +2 the other day? I didn't take a shot on the court.
That's great defensive effort. You're a floor general.
That's
you had
right.
an assist to me. Your first touch, you knew where the buckets come from.
That's
and
right.
You found him, cutting to the basket.
That's right. And just like our games on Thursday on Staten Island, where we're from, came to assist you here. I did last year for those 2 days. I was here Saturday and Sunday. I was not here last year on the Friday of the weekend. This year, it was Nick who actually did the first 2 days, Nick Durst. Special shout out to him.
Well,
my guy, we miss you.
We spoke about it last night off air. It could have been you here yesterday. You could have spent the day here at Rutgers, had a grand old time, and I would have joined you for the evening. But you decided you prioritize your stats work for less pay, dedicated to the grind. Aspiring statistician, perhaps?
Aspiring statistician.
And the irony of it all is that while you chose to prioritize your stats work over our operation here at PDF, I had no live stats for the second game that you were scoring. I was calling that game from Rutgers and had no live stats.
No live stats.
Meanwhile,
well, I mean, it was obvious because of the music stuff, you know that.
Well, if you glance up at the board in the top left corner of the screen for our audience, you and I here at the Rec Center, Joe, those split times in the lanes outside of lane 4 beginning to trend downward a bit. And this race could get a bit tighter as we draw closer to a conclusion. We'll see. We are about 2/3 of the way there, a little bit further.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. 2/3 of the way through the race at the moment. So we're going to see what the big board has for Pinto Cone as he continues to maintain his lead.
He's been sub 31 for the entire race, Joe. Most of his competitors just got sub 33 within the last several laps.
So it seems like those two Roberts Wesleyan swimmers, and again, we're looking here at lanes 4 and 5 like we did for the first race on the women's side of things. I think Pinto Cone came in at 12:06 on that last particular touch overall. So we'll see if he can maintain that scorching pace that he's currently on. Maybe put a couple more seconds between him and even his fellow teammates. Seems like he was able to do so on that exchange.
His lead is very significant.
It's about 5+ seconds.
Well, he's a lap ahead of his next nearest competitor right now.
That makes sense.
So his lead is significant, and his only competitor within a lap is his teammate Derek Woodford, national anthem singer on night 1. We said it before, team of vocally gifted Redhawks. My vocal gifts only are confined to the headset. Once you put a microphone in my hand and take the earmuffs off, I think my vocal ability goes away. Definitely not a singer.
No, I never was either.
But you're definitely a dancer for sure. 100%.
I don't. What gave that away?
I can see it.
Is it just because I like moving my arms and my hands and like a flailing? What do they call those? The wacky
gesticulations.
Wacky.
You're the stereotypical gesticulating Italian, and I can say that because I'm a quarter Italian.
What else are you?
Italian, Irish, Polish, Russian, German.
Yeah, well, the Irish definitely comes out of you because we know that when you get in the sun, you burn immediately.
The green eyes give away the Irish descent pretty quickly, and let's just say that
You do much better in settings here where you're confined with walls around you and you're by the water in the pool.
let's say you could white balance the camera with my forearm.
I feel like I made a similar joke like that last year. I'm getting like, not a deja vu moment, but I'm thinking back to what I said.
Well,
I definitely made a joke about you being Irish last year.
we were on the Valentine's Day tangent a bit earlier. Now, I've never danced in my life, and on the Valentine's Day tangent, I said, if I ever do dance in my life, there's only one time it will happen. When is it? Are you going to answer the question?
No, not yet.
You're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Well, I'll let you think about that, and if you can venture a solid guess, maybe I'll share. Meanwhile, in the pool, it is lap 60 for Tanner Pinto-Cohn, and he maintains his lead. His split time still sub 31. He has been consistent from the start.
It's a torrid pace over here. He's doing an excellent job. And again, for points purposes here, you do have two Baruch swimmers in lanes 2 and lane 6 with Valdivia and Tarantiev. And we haven't really mentioned some of the swimmers in the outer lanes here in this particular race. But again, the gap between Baruch and Roberts Wesleyan, while there's a little bit of space there, it's not something where Baruch can't ultimately overcome. So as of now, it looks like Pinto-Cohn's going to win this race, and we'll see where the other Roberts Wesleyan swimmers finish, Joe. But it's going to be very key for those two swimmers who I just mentioned in lanes 2 and 6 to finish strong.
Taking a look back toward lane 4, it is the final 50 for Tanner Pinto-Cohn. I mentioned his winning time last year in this event, clocking in at 17:12:32. And if he stays true to his split time, Joe, he is going to obliterate that.
The time.
Obliterate it.
This is it for him, right?
He's headed for the final touch.
He's looking for 25 to 30 seconds here.
He is going to shave off close to 30 seconds,
Wow.
make it 30 plus.
And his final, 29:37 on that final stretch. I mean, that's unbelievable. He was sub 31 the whole race, and then that final sequence coming down to finish the race, sub 30, Joe, and not only just sub 30. I mean, he almost went sub 29. Unbelievable pace.
Well, it's always tough to track down record books for individual programs, but let's see if we have any luck. Those schools that populate their records on SwimCloud, pretty easy to find those.
So while you're doing that, we'll get you the official time for Tanner Pinto-Cohn, who finished number 1 in lane 4, 16:41.91. Had that right. Now we have a second place finisher, fellow teammate Derek Woodford in lane 5, 17:22.71 and 2. So two top finishers from Roberts Wesleyan, Joe. Looks like they're going to put a little bit more distance between them and Baruch here.
And I just got to look, the records link for Roberts Wesleyan on their website is broken. So no.
Red Hawks better get on that for us.
Swimming records, fortunately, are very straightforward, easy to keep. If you go and review them after each meet, you can never go wrong. If you have a printout at the meet, even better. But plenty of records get set at these conference championship meets, so it's always good to have those handy if they're available.
We have an official third place finisher, Joe. It's Matt Klimek in lane 7 from Maritime with a time of 18:14 and 11.
And then if you look in lanes 3 and 6, Merced edging out Tarantiev by just 9/10 of a second. And every point matters when this meet is as close as it entered the night.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of family and friends here supporting and cheering on Roberts Wesleyan. They, in particular, popped on that last exchange as Merced
the
came
wrestling
in.
pop.
At the wrestling pop. Because they recognize that Merced finishing ahead of Tarantiev. Again, it's going to put a little more distance between Roberts Wesleyan and Baruch.
We are awaiting the finish in lane 8 from Joseph Scarola. And I'm trying to get a look at that placard at the end of the lane to see if this is his final 50. I don't think it is. And it is not. That will be the next lap. So Scarola will officially come in 8th in this A final of the men's 1650 free. I'm trying to get a look into the waiting area to see if we should expect a break here. I would think certainly the diver introductions will take place following this event. And then if you are looking to tune in live to our diving, you can check that out over on our second stream.
What we need is, when you're at the airport, right, and you got
I'm
all
at
those
the airport
guys,
plenty, Joe.
and they got the guys on the runway, and they're directing traffic, and they're holding up those things. That's what we need from the people who are sitting at the corner table. We need official confirmation about that.
Well, they've been great. They make the job so easy. Managing remote audio is not fun.
No, it's not.
Because
there are a lot of factors that contribute to that.
There's a lot of devices that can interfere with a Bluetooth signal. It's a long way away in the corner. And if the mic is not turned on at the right time or put in the incorrect spot, that can create problems. You get feedback. But I was not here for the diving prelims yesterday. I was on Staten Island working. But once I got here, it was great.
There we go.
Joe, let's meet the diving finalists. Once again, diving finalists will be introduced on the bulkhead. You can get that view on our diving stream. Joe, for now, we'll turn it over to public address.
Your finalist in women's 3-meter diving up first. She's a 1-meter school record holder, CUNY All-Conference and CUNY champion. This is her first events appearance, and last night she was 3rd on the 1-meter from Brooklyn College, Magdalena Makowitz. Up second, she was 4th on the 1-meter last night from Roberts Wesleyan, Ellie Herbert. Your 3rd diver, she's a 3-time NCAA qualifier, 4-time Mets A finalist, and 3-time Mets silver medalist from Roberts Wesleyan, Sydney Simmons. And the top seed, she's a 3-time NCAA qualifier, holds all 4 diving records. She's an 8-time Mets A finalist, 5-time Mets champ, and 2-time Woman Diver of the Year from Roberts Wesleyan, Emma Deco. All right, and now let's meet the finalists for men's 1-meter diving.
I'm that young Latino sipping on Tito's, eating burritos, got him like todo. Dicen que lo que hago es malo, me están llamando, no sabo.
Your first diver is a 2025-26 CUNY Diving All-Conference 3-meter CUNY champion. In his first appearance at the Metros, he was 4th on the 3-meter last night from Brooklyn College, Christian Diaz. Your second diver, this is his first year at the Mets and his first A final from SUNY Maritime, Brendan Toomey. Your 3rd diver, he was 2nd on the 3-meter last night from Roberts Wesleyan, Joel Fesmeyer. Your 4th diver, he is a CUNY runner-up, and his first appearance at the Mets, he was 3rd on the 3-meter from Brooklyn College, Jaden Diaz. And the top seed, he was your 3-meter champion last night from Roberts Wesleyan, Brody Baldwin. This event is the women's 200-yard backstroke, Heat 1B final.
All right, Joe Foreman back with you alongside Joe Calabrese as you just got the chance to take in the introduction of our diving finalists here on the final night of competition at the 2026 Mets Championship. I have to adjust our camera over on stream number 2 to make sure our diving boards are well within the frame as the action resumes here in the main pool. Joe, let's meet the finalists in the women's 200-yard back. I believe this is a B final, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. That is a B final. In lane 1, we have Mani Gonzalez of Baruch College. In lane 2, we have Christian Zhao of Baruch College. In lane 3, we have Anastasia Lischik of Hunter College. In lane 4, we have Steph Summer of Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 5, Emma Brule again of Gordon College. In lane 6, we have Yara Shack of, was that Baruch? No.
That was Brooklyn.
Brooklyn College, excuse me, sorry.
I've done that at least 3 times this week.
Well, it was the first time I did it here. Hopefully it's the last time today.
You better hope so.
Lane 7, we have Jordan Vanderhoof of Roberts Wesleyan University. And then lane 8, we have Anza Barth of Baruch College. And we are well underway here.
Only I'm allowed to make mistakes, Joe.
That's right.
I'm the F.
Well, actually, you're missing 2 letters there.
Well, that's a discussion for another network.
We have to ask a certain somebody about that. Speaking of Fs.
Oh. Yeah, they'll love that. With the lead swimming out of lane 4 is Steph Summer of Mount St. Mary. About a body length and a half, maybe close to 2 body lengths behind is Anastasia Lischik swimming out of lane 3.
What did I say, Lischik? It's Lischik.
Honestly, Joe, we don't have pronunciation guides.
I know, it's difficult.
It is.
You know, my one shtick is I always want to try to get names as closest as possible.
We all do.
That's why you're the best in the biz.
Well,
one of them.
I'm a bit biased. Once again, for those looking for diving finals, separate stream. For those locked in here at the main pool, it appears as if we are about to see a first place finish in the B final of the women's 200 back for Steph Summer. She has a comfortable lead. However, there is a tight race for second. Swimmers in lanes 3, 5, and 6. Lischik, Brule, Shake, all in the mix. And it is going to be Brule taking second, Lischik third, Shake fourth. And in fifth will be Imani Gonzalez in lane 1, Kristen Zhao sixth, Jordan Vanderhoof seventh, and Anza Barth will take eighth.
Official time for Steph Summer, 2:32:02. Official time for Emma Brule, 2:37:29. And the official time for Anastasia Lischik, 2:37:07.
A final coming up in just a few moments as the swimmers make their way to the starting block. Joe, let's meet the A finalists.
Lane 1, we got Paige Kern of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 2, we have Kristen Eads of Sarah Lawrence College. Lane 3, we have Sky.
All right, McClethwaite.
McClethwaite. Yeah, I was going to say
Nick had a tough time with that one, but I went with what I thought.
I was going to say
Well, I think we have it right. We have it right.
We have it right. Roberts Wesleyan.
You have to say it with confidence, and everyone except the family, if you are incorrect, will believe you.
That's right. Lane 4, we have Kendall Smith, Gordon College. In lane 5, we have Kira Chen of Baruch College. In lane 6, we have Caitlin Chavez of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have Ella Hernan of Sarah Lawrence College. And in lane 8, we have Angelina Minero of Mount St. Mary's College.
All right, well, based on the public address announcement, Joe, I think I had it right.
Very good.
A score 1 for the CFO. There's the other 2 letters.
There you go. The CFO.
We didn't want any confusion as to what you were talking about.
Absolutely not.
So we had to clarify. You noticed when I called myself the 36-minute man, I specified basketball?
That's right. And what else would you be talking about?
Swimming, obviously.
Obviously. The CFO. If anybody doesn't know what the CFO stands for.
All right, now you're getting carried away. You already introduced it to the discussion. All right, winning time in this event last year. In the women's 200-yard back, it was Kira Chen of Baruch, who occupies lane 5 tonight. She won this event last year with a time of 2:14.83. The meet record 1:58.90, and the seed time entering this heat for Chen 2:19.21. So about 5 seconds off her pace from last year. And I think I would suspect her to surpass that seed time here.
Yeah, I was going to say, but like the point you mentioned before, sometimes we have seed times for reference. Obviously, you don't want to necessarily give too much analysis directly related from those seed times because based on seed times, it's Smith in lane 4 who had a faster seed time than it was Kira Chen. But as you mentioned, Kira Chen did win this event last year.
And it appears that Chen alongside Caitlin Chavez were the first two to the wall. And off the turn, it is her Baruch teammate, Caitlin Chavez, with a slight edge. First touch coming up here, and Chavez maintains a narrow lead. And in fact, I think Chen surpassed her by 1/10 of a second. That just goes to show, Joe, even if you're approaching the touchpad with the advantage, that transition into making that turn and the touch, it can be all the difference between winning and losing a race, especially one of just 200 yards.
Absolutely correct. And as of now, it seems like there's about 5/10 between our first and our second swimmers here.
And you can see it. Chavez again with a slight advantage heading for the touchpad. Let's see if she comes in with a split time ahead of her teammate Chen here. I don't think she did, Joe.
I don't think she did either. Ooh. Actually, she did by about less than 3/10.
So if you look at the
a little more than 3/10, excuse me.
If you look at that transition into the touch, it seems like they're both using a different process. I think Chen is making the touch with her hand, and Chavez is using her feet to propel off that wall and making the touch with her feet.
And that's exactly what she did here, and she actually put a little bit of difference between her and Chen.
Well, off the wall, you're going to see the same turning, but on the touch, it appears Chen's making the touch with the hand and then turning. And I think Chavez is making the touch with the feet. They both made the touch with the feet that time. I think it really depends on how you approach the wall. But that duo is still leading the pack as we enter the final 50.
It's going to be very interesting here. They're pretty much deadlocked, Joe.
Well, it's always good when, if you're in a race for first, it's with one of your teammates. And it's going to be a razor-thin margin that decides this A final in the women's 200 back.
It seems like Chen is basically just about a head's length ahead of her teammate. And that's going to show here in the final touch, which has Chen winning with a time of 2:15.91.
So as expected, she does best her seed time. She does not best her winning time from last year, 2:15.91 tonight, 2:14.83 last year. The rest of the field, 2 through 8, Chavez, Smith, McClethwaite, Hernan, Eads, Kern, and Monero.
The next event is the men's 200-yard backstroke heat 1B final.
B final in the men's 200 back, occupied by just 2 swimmers.
That is correct. So you'll be just focusing on here on lanes 4 and 5. In lane 4, we have Kyle Giuliano of Mount St. Mary's College. And in lane 5, we have Nikolai Kryliuk.
Swimming B final in lane 4.
Kryliuk, right?
I would say
Kryliuk.
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 That's what I would say.
Nikolai Kryliuk of Brooklyn College.
All right, just had to confirm that our audio transmission is coming in from diving. So for those in our diving stream, they may have heard a bit of a pop when I grabbed the microphone by its top, but
That's right.
those announcements have begun.
Not the pop that we mentioned before.
No, not the good kind.
Not
When the CFO comes through the curtain, there's always a pop.
I got the Brooklyn Baruch school right this time, so we're 1 for 2.
Well, the bad news for you, Joe, is that I have an excuse. I covered the CUNYAC for, I think, about a little less than half a decade, from 16 through 19, so 4 years. I covered the CUNYAC. Of course, the College of Staten Island was a part of that. And I covered a lot of games against both Baruch and Brooklyn. My connection with CSI is how I got into covering this event.
That's right.
And they've kept us on ever since. It's been a blast. We hope to be back next year, fully expect to be back next year, but you never take anything for granted. And we were talking about it on the air yesterday. If they keep the same weekend for this meet, the Mets will be going up against the Super Bowl.
That's right, because next year the Super Bowl falls on February 14th, which is a Sunday. This would be the final day next year.
Now, that does beg the question. Would I be covering Sunday night if it's going up against the Super Bowl? That is a very serious question. How dedicated am I to the grind? Truth is, Joe, I didn't watch the Super Bowl this year. I had it on in the background.
Yeah, this year it was background noise. I was kind of doing some other types of schoolwork as the game was going on. Big shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl.
I agree.
As a Jets fan, I could not deal with not only the fact that I root for a cursed franchise, but another New England Patriots Super Bowl. That would have probably broken me. But let's get back to the race here. Lane 4, we have Kyle Giuliano, who has now put significant distance between him and what will be the second place finisher. Giuliano coming in from Mount St. Mary's College in lane 4 with a final time of 2:15.38.
And taking a look at their seed times, it is a slight improvement for Giuliano and a slight improvement for Kryliuk as well. So job well done by those two swimmers as they best their seed times coming in. And in just a few moments, we will meet our A finalists. Light up that board. All right, not quite on cue, but almost.
Almost. Lane 1, we have Jaden Pasha of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 2, we have Cooper Hardy of Gordon College. In lane 3, we have Ethan Abramov of Baruch College. In lane 4, we have Raphael Weber of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 5, we have Adrian Lengiao, right, of Baruch College. In lane 6, we have Tenzin Gurung of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have Samuel Liao of Baruch College. And in lane 8, we have Victor Pineda of Maritime.
We're going to have some extra time here ahead of the start of this heat, so we'll take a look at the seed times coming in. We'll go from top to bottom, from lanes 1 through 8. Partial, 2:17.95. Hardy, 2:07.36. Abramov, 2:03.12. Weber, 1:52.13. That is far and away the top seed time. An advantage for him of over 10 seconds. Lengiel, 2:03.10. Gurung, 2:06.23. Liao, 2:09.67. And Pineda, 2:18.97. Also taking a look at the programs with swimmers occupying the lanes in this meet. Look at Baruch, 4 Bearcats in this A final. This is a big one for them.
That's right.
Especially with how the 1650 played out. If you're Baruch here, you are locked in on hoping to, at the very worst, 2 through 5.
That's right.
If you could steal the top spot, even better.
Yeah, again, like I mentioned before, you don't want to just take the seed times and project the race based on the seed times. But again, when you have somebody like a Raphael Weber, right, what you're looking for in particular in this race is, one, is he going to improve upon that time, especially when he's already put in about 10 seconds between him and the other swimmers, and 2, can the other swimmers close that gap?
Introduction's almost complete, and our men's 200-yard back A final about to get underway here on night 3 at the Mets. It does appear that our program is going to run straight through to a break ahead of the 400-yard freestyle relay. So beyond this event, we have the 100 free, 200 breast, 200 fly, and then our 400 free relay to wrap up the weekend.
Still a lot of great stuff to look forward to on the remainder of this card, Joe.
So now we're referring to the program as a card.
That's right.
That's how you know we're wrestling fans. Dave
Does not like that at all.
Thankfully, he's not watching. He's in Virginia covering
That's right.
the New Jersey Athletic Conference in their swimming and diving championship. It's a packed weekend of coverage here on PDF.
That's right.
And following this heat, we have some more good news for us here at PDF that I'll share shortly.
Ooh, what a teaser. I like teasers.
Well, if you're a fan of sports, we got plenty more for you coming up the rest of the year, as first to the first touch in this heat is Rafael Weber, true to seed time, and his first 50 split about 0.8 of a second ahead of his nearest competitor. His lead is about a body length headed for the wall.
Then we have all of our swimmers in lanes 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Kind of jumbled up at the moment. Nobody really kind of putting distance between the other. But for that touch by Weber, which kind of came in at almost sub 28, 28.01, 54.49, clearly pacing himself ahead of some of the other swimmers in this race. The nearest one as of this moment seems like it's Lengyao, right, in lane 2 of Baruch College. On that previous touch, he came in at 57.59, so just about 3 seconds of difference between the first two swimmers in this race.
Weber posting a 28-16 split there. His lead is about half the length of the pool, maybe more, as he heads for the wall.
Once again, coming in at very close to 28 seconds flat, Joe. Previously, it was 28.01. That time around, 28.16. So very scorching pace from him, as he's now looking to extend what would be a half a pool of lead to a full pool after this.
Final time for Weber, 1:50.84. The race for second appears as if it will belong to Tenzin Gurung, 32.01, followed by Lengyel, Abramov, Liao, Hardy. And tough to get a view of lane 8. It could be a fairly close finish here, but it looks like Victor Pineda is going to edge out Jaden Parshall for 7th. He will, and indeed it is Parshall in 8th.
So Baruch kind of doing what you mentioned before. They occupied lanes 3, 5, 6, and 7. They finished 2 through 5 in this race here. And it was important to note that Weber actually improved upon his seat time by about 1.5 seconds.
All right, and immediately we are on to the C final in the women's 100 free. Joe, I think you'll probably have to go last names only.
That's right. Let's see if I can get it all in. Haley Johnston, lane 1, Brooklyn College. Lane 2, Sarah Wainwright of Gordon College. Lane 3, Isabella Bichette of Gordon College. And lane 4, Kate Servin of Mount St. Mary's College. And lane 5, Kalia Gormley of Gordon College. In lane 6, Anja Barth again of Baruch College. In lane 7, Salem Williams of John Jay. And in lane 8, Allie Ebenmeyer of Sarah Lawrence. Did I get it? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like the fastest 3 minutes of football, except we're at Rutgers for the Met Swim Championships.
Well, Nick was giving it his best. He was rattling off names before the heat even began a few times.
It's a good thing I have water here. Helps wet the palate a little bit.
It's a bad thing that I don't. Where's the producer? That's his job. It's a tight race headed for the wall. Final turn here. Servin and Gormley going stroke for stroke. It looks like Gormley may have a slight advantage in lane 5, but it is going to be a razor-thin margin for whoever wins this. And in our C final, it is Gormley by 3/100ths of a second.
Oh, boy.
Doesn't get much closer than that.
No, that was good. Very, very good stuff. As everybody here at Rutgers concurs. A lot of cheers for that one.
That dastardly lane 6 touchpad strikes again.
That's right. Dastardly lane 6 touchpad.
Well, I could find some other words, but probably not suitable for work.
So again, that's another thing with the C times, Joe. You came in to the C final. It was Servin, right, who had a slightly better C time than Gormley, as we have the B final. So I'm going to try to do this again. Brianna Torres of John Jay in lane 1. We have Lizzie Bailey Ham of Brooklyn College in lane 2. Cordelia Bay of Sarah Lawrence College in lane 3. Ashley Leal of Baruch College in lane 4. Lily Bradshaw of Hunter College in lane 5. Krista Burgess of Sarah Lawrence College in lane 6. Oceana Elefante of Maritime in lane 7. And Annie Hang of Hunter College in lane 8. Hang, right, or Hang? Huang.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
Meanwhile, perhaps an upset brewing in lane 2. Lizzie Bailey-Ham far and away ahead of the rest of the field right now. Her lead, I would estimate, is about half a body length.
That's right.
But that gap is closing. And it will be Bailey-Ham holding on. Ashley Leal second, Bradshaw third, Elefante fourth, Bay fifth, Burgess sixth, Huang seventh, and Torres eighth.
Bailey-Ham with a final time of 57:15. Little bit of an upset there. Again, that's why you can't look at the seed times on the sheets that we have here and just project the races.
I think you get a lot more consistency in terms of the seed times holding true and playing out the way we expect in an A final. This would, of course, Joe, be the race where that doesn't happen.
Nope.
We'll find out shortly. Let's meet the A finalists when that board populates.
So in lane 1, we have Emily Berg of Sarah Lawrence College. In lane 2, we have Julia Mecker of Sarah Lawrence College. In lane 3, we have Tegan Lewis of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 4, we have Antonia Licardi of Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 5, we have Kalani Talma of Sarah Lawrence College. In lane 6, we have Kayla Nicholas of Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 7, Kara Chang of Hunter College. And in lane 8, Isabella Gadaus. What do you think?
I've been saying, we're going to listen to public address. I assume they have the pronunciations, but
Gadaus?
I've been saying Gadouis.
Gadouis.
Yeah.
Of Gordon College.
It could be Gadouis.
I think it's Gadaus. That's my
That makes
hunch.
more sense. But, you know, I need to get on that email chain because I'm sure that they have pronunciations over there.
Right.
I think the problem might be that the bioforms that they fill out are filled out the day of the meet, and I think that's where they put the pronunciations.
Gadouis. We came close. Again, not too far off.
Admittedly, I was not that close, but thank you.
My initial first try, I was slightly closer, but that's okay. That's why I'm here, to help you.
Well, when they say Joe got it right, they won't know who we were talking about, so I can take the credit if you're not around. And you'd be
That's
okay
right.
with it, and if they say Joe got it right and I'm not around, you can take the credit. It's fine.
It's a good plan.
They always say a lot of the best, most competent, most efficient work in the background don't get credit for the work they do. Unfortunately, that does not apply here, considering we are on headset and our streams are immortalized on demand. As always, you can watch all of our live streams on demand via the PDF Sports Network on YouTube. All of this weekend's action, a part of our Mets swimming and diving playlist. Now, 4 years worth of content populating that playlist, and take great pride in that. Happy to be partnered with the Mets and back for this 2026 Conference Championship, as it is Antonia Licardi with a slim lead in lane 4, and on the first touch, she comes in just ahead of Kalani Talma. Final turn here, and the lead remains slim for Licardi. She's going stroke for stroke with Talma, and once again, it is going to be a narrow margin
Joe,
of victory
I think she's
for the
about
winner.
to get overtaken, Joe.
It looks possible. Will it happen?
Oh! Whoa! 200s between Licardi and Talma for first and second place. 53-62 and 53-64, Joe. It looked like Kalani Talma was just going to edge out Licardi there in that final stretch. That's as close as it gets. That's good stuff.
I'm going to need you to not do that. There you go.
Am I coming in that loud?
When you move your microphone closer to your mouth, it's a speaker check for everyone at home. We're about to find out the quality of the audio system that our viewers are listening on.
And their eardrums, apparently.
Well, I don't think the jump is that much, but if someone prefers to listen to their TV a bit louder, beware Joe Calabrese. He likes to bring that mic in nice and close when he's ready to make an important point.
So we have the men's 100-yard freestyle final, the C final here. Very quick. Cannon Cheryl Coca from Maritime is in lane 3. Nathan DeWeese from Roberts Wesleyan University is in lane 4. Samuel Ochoa from Brooklyn College is in lane 5. And Braden Kane from Gordon College is in lane 6.
The lead currently belongs to Ochoa in lane 5. His lead closing in on about a body length as the swimmers enter the final turn. The lead remains just shy of a body length for Ochoa, and I'm not sure there's enough time left to overtake him, though his lead is narrowing just a bit. I don't know if DeWeese had enough pull left, and he did not, as he comes in about 0.2 of a second off the pace set by Ochoa. He is the winner in our men's 100-yard freestyle C final.
On to the B final.
Boy, are they efficient, Joe. I do not remember this meet moving so quickly in the past.
Yeah, I was going to say, last year when we came here, hold on, let me read first.
Let's do that first.
So we got Moss McCold Burke of Sarah Lawrence College in lane 1. In lane 2, we have Aiden Soggs of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 3, Liam McManus of Maritime. In lane 4, we have Eric Kim of Baruch College. In lane 5, we have Jonathan Harvey of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 6, we have Michael Saharov from Maritime. In lane 7, we have Orr Volpert from Brooklyn College. And in lane 8, we have Dylan Baker of Roberts Wesleyan University. Nick Durst would be proud of me right now.
Just in time for the final 25. It is a narrow lead for Eric Kim. Jonathan Harvey not far behind, but it does not appear he is going to be able to overtake Kim, as Eric Kim will take first in the B final of the men's 100 free. The rest of the field, Harvey, Volpert, Soggs, McManus, Saharov, Baker, and McCold Burke.
Nice shot by Kim there, holding off Harvey in the final stages of that race. Key Baruch win against Roberts Wesleyan. We'll see if that plays a factor as this day moves on. To the point that I was mentioning before, Joe, we got here about 5:30 last year on the Sunday, the final day, and everything kind of started concluding about 8:15, 8:20-ish. So we're moving on. Haven't really had a break yet.
How do you remember that, and why is your microphone so close to your mouth again?
I think it's the hat on the...
Well, you're grabbing it with your fingertips and bringing it in. I know the hat causes the slide. What you have to do, the knob on top of your hat, you have to fix the headset behind that knob on top of the hat, and then it won't slide.
Well, let's introduce the A finalists. Ian Springle, lane 1 of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 2, we have Kyle Dumais of Gordon College. Lane 3, we have Sage Stephan. No, it's Stephan, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Of Gordon College. I read the U as an E.
So Anthony Peter Sa.
Peter Sa.
Peter Sa is
Peter
how they
Sa.
pronounced it on PA.
Okay. Peter Sa of Roberts Wesleyan University. He's in lane 4. In lane 5, we have Alex Boyarski of Baruch College. In lane 6, we have Lucas Vasquez of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have Hayden Smith of Roberts Wesleyan University. And in lane 8, we have John Spencer of Roberts Wesleyan University. Joe, another key race here for Baruch against Roberts Wesleyan.
And I think something that isn't overlooked by those who are keeping track of the scores from race to race, but that sometimes we could lose in the midst of that as we introduce the swimmers and immediately jump from one event to another. How many A finalists you have is key. Winning, of course, helps, especially in the relays where the points are doubled. But when you have an individual A finalist, that is invaluable. And if you have a program like Roberts Wesleyan that enters an event like this with 4 A finalists, Baruch could take 1 and 2. It doesn't really matter that much. It's how many A finalists you have, and then there is the slight edge to the team that places a bit higher. So in terms of scoring, you need A finalists. In terms of scoring, your objective is place swimmers in the A final, win the relays. Because the double up of points really makes a difference.
You're using that high school education to Put it
We
to
had the
good
same
use.
education. We went to the same high school.
Yeah, but
I
I
didn't know it.
I slacked off though.
Not as much as me, I promise. I was never there, Joe. I was too cool
I
for
don't know
school.
if you want to say that on the broadcast.
I'm honest, unfiltered and honest. You know, I was too cool for school back then.
Too cool for school.
Wouldn't you know it, though? I did the same thing in college, and now I've been employed by the college for the next decade.
That's right.
Sometimes life has a way of presenting you with great ironies. A final, men's 100-yard freestyle. In last year's event, Anthony Peter Saw took the win with a time of 44.73. His seed time coming into this A final about 3 seconds. In fact, just about exactly 3 seconds ahead of his next closest competitors. And through the first 50, his lead is greater than a body length.
Especially after that wall turn, Joe. Now we're looking at almost a body length and a half. He's extending that to 2 body lengths at the moment. He got a really great initial jump into the pool, which again, we haven't really discussed that in terms of strategy so far, as he's going to come down here and win this event again like he did last year.
He wins handily. And was he able to surpass his time from last year? He did, just barely.
44.60. What was his time last year again?
44.73.
So 13 hundredths. Second place, Alex Boyarski of Baruch. And in third place, it was Sage Stefan of Gordon College.
Well, I'd go through the rest of our standings in that heat, but they're ready to begin our first heat, a B final in the women's 200-yard breaststroke. Wasting no time.
We have Hannah Tremblay of Gordon College in lane 1. We have Naisha Krishna of Hunter College in lane 2. We have Aubrey Rosser of Sarah Lawrence College in lane 3. We have Ella Schisler of Gordon College in lane 4. We have Daria Yanitskaya of Baruch College in lane 5. We have Ruva, is that a C or a G? Gondo of Maritime in lane 6. We have Kristen Carroll of, Mount St. Mary's, excuse me for Gondo. In lane 7, we have Kristen Carroll of Maritime. And in lane 8, we have Imani Chisholm of Hunter College.
Headed for the touchpad, the lead belongs to Daria Voynitskaya, swimming out of lane 5. And Joe, the Russian that we were forced to take in high school, serving us pretty well, I think.
Yep, I would say so. Currently our leader.
Well, Nick had to All right, Joe, we are back online. Once again, the internet is wreaking havoc on us. It is these brief hiccups that knock us offline for just a few moments before we come back. Not exactly sure why, not exactly sure how. We are wired into the press area, but just hasn't been steady so far today. I've been knocked offline 2 or 3 times. We were smooth each of the first 2 days. Meanwhile, we resume this women's 200-yard breaststroke B final in progress. And with a narrow lead, it's still Daria Voynitskaya swimming out of lane 5, but she's being pushed in lanes 3 by Aubrey Rosser and lane 4 by Ella Schisler. Headed for the wall, Voynitskaya is the first one there. This is a big turn. It is the final turn in this 200 breast, and off the wall it looks like Schisler might have a slight edge in lane 4.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I don't think Voynitskaya really got momentum on that last touch, and I think it's going to contribute here. And it looks like Schisler in lane 4, she's coming in, Joe. Looks like she's going to touch first and finish in first.
And in second, it's going to be Aubrey Rosser, followed by Voynitskaya in lane 5. Gondo will take 4th in lane 6. Placing 5th will be Krishna in lane 2. Taking 6th is Carroll, 7th Chisholm, and 8th Tremblay.
I was going to say, Joe, that one touch made the entire difference in the race.
That final turn, Joe.
And Vonetskaya, it's like she didn't have a significant amount of distance, between her and the other two swimmers who were in second and third at the time. But that one touch again, you train and you can't even anticipate something like that happening.
A finalists making their way to the starting blocks, and with that extra time, the swimmers in the pool will make their way out. We've seen plenty that swimmers wait to make their exit as soon as the following heat begins, but not this time. And while we have a moment, those are the A finalists up on the board. Joe, let's meet them.
Got Sophia Lengyel of Baruch College in lane 1.
Lane 2, Parvibonu Makhmadaliva. Her name is cut off.
I was going to get the last name right. I didn't know the first name.
I trusted you, but we've gone through this each of the first 2 nights, and we're nothing if not prepared.
Always prepared. Just like Antonetta in Antonetta Baerga, like Carlos Baerga, the former baseball player. Of Brooklyn College, she's in lane 3. In lane 4, we have Evie Lecoq of Gordon College. In lane 5, is that Joanne?
So I thought I heard it pronounced Joni or public address.
Joni.
The spelling is Joane, and I would say Arzaluz Garzon.
Best in the biz. She's in lane 5 from Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 6, we have Aiden Demirova. There you go. Got tongue-tied for a second. I need a drink of water. She lane 6 from John Jay College. In lane 7, we have Leanne Dolph of Roberts Wesleyan University. And in lane 8, we have Cordelia Bay of Sarah Lawrence College.
All right, Joe, so I just listened in on public address, and now it was announced as Joanne Arzaluz Garzon.
Okay.
And in lane 4, Evie Lakic. Over PA. That is what we got a public address. So I wanted to make sure I corrected that. It might be my last chance to do so this weekend. Like I said, Joe, I believe these pronunciations don't come in prior to the meet. They come in on the student-athlete bioforms. Those are submitted within an hour of the meet.
So there's really no way for us to really get to that.
Well, we'd have to go and take individual photos of at least one bioform for every student-athlete. They are handwritten bioforms, so it's a lot that the public address announcer has to go through down there ahead of each heat. And as always, they bring in several different gentlemen who do a great job. We've been the constant, Joe.
Yes, we have.
A final, women's 200-yard breaststroke. Taking a look at last year's event, the winning time in the 200 breast, 2:34.90. That was Emma Lippiat. She is not competing in this event. So we will crown a new champion here at the Mets in the women's 200 breast. And through the first 50, Lakic in lane 4 has a narrow lead over Arzaluz Garzon in lane 5. Also in lane 3, Antonetta Baerga close to the top of the field early on through the first 50. Well, it looks like Nick has entered the live chat, Joe. I'll let you, not out loud. Not out loud, but I'll let you read what he wrote. Take a look down there. So we actually had a swimmer last year with the last name Calabozo, and I couldn't help myself. I said, when Joe shows up tomorrow, can I call him a Calabozo one time? Hopefully, the aforementioned Calabozo has a good sense of humor. The amount of times I've been called George in my life, you have to develop that sense of humor when your last name is Foreman.
Hey, Joe, first time, long time. Do you think Calabrese and Calabozo ever get together at the Rutgers swim?
Oh, that would be a great photo. I do not know what school he competed for. I'd have to go back to the live stream. I think it was night 1 last year. Meanwhile, the lead for Lakic in lane 4 is a big one, about 2 body lengths at least. She heads for the touch pad with a split of 40-49. Final 50 coming up here And you can see a differential of about 2 seconds in the split between her and her next closest competitor, Joanne Arzeluz-Garzon. And now Nick is dropping my government name, JR.
Thank you for the support at home, Nick. You're certainly missed. Joe told me that before the broadcast started.
Well, you can't miss the first place finish in this event. Evie Lacker will take first with a time of 2:36.52. That is a couple of seconds behind her seed time. Arzeluz-Garzon second. Damarova third. Baerga fourth. Taking fifth will be Leanne Dolph, followed closely by Cordelia Bay in sixth. Akhmadaliva seventh and Lengyel eighth to round out the field in this women's 200-yard breaststroke A final.
Next event is the men's 200-yard breaststroke Heat 1 B final.
B final in the men's 200-yard breast about to get underway, and as they populate that scoreboard shortly, Joe, let's meet the swimmers.
So in lane 1, we have Christos Hamakiotis of Baruch College. In lane 2, we have Joseph Scarola of Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 3, we have Paul D'Ambrosio of Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 4, we have Juan Montgomery of Gordon College. In lane 5, we have Johnny Binns of Gordon College. In lane 6, we have Riming Jiang of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have Braden Mitchell of Roberts Wesleyan University. And in lane 8, we have Samuel Gorodetsky of Brooklyn College.
I would venture to guess it's Ewan Montgomery in lane 4.
Ewing?
Ewan.
Ewing. Like Patrick Ewing.
Well, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor.
Ooh, I like that one. I didn't know you had a Star Wars reference in you.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan, Joe. You didn't know that?
Really? Interesting. I
During
honestly,
the break, I need to fill you in on a conversation we had the other day.
Ooh.
It's too much of a tangent for the broadcast, but once we reach the break, I got to fill you in. It's a narrow lead for Montgomery over his Gordon teammate, Johnny Minns, in lane 5. Yeah, Joe's reading the live chat, having a laugh off headset right now, but we're just
Nick,
beyond.
you want those C times?
We're
I think he
just-
wants those C times. Ewan Montgomery coming in 35.52.
Well, I reserve seed times for the A final personally,
Sure.
but if there's a market improvement over a seed time in a B or a C final, then I'll drop those. And I think the big reason why is because the introductions in the A final are much longer. So Nick already spoiled our conversation in the live chat.
Final lap here coming, Joe.
The lead has only grown for Montgomery in lane 4. It is a decisive first for him at the moment and a decisive second for Johnny Minns, but he's being pushed by Riming Jiang. Not quite sure if there's enough distance left in this one, but man, that underwater from Jiang took him a long way. Just don't think he has enough to overtake Minns as Montgomery easily secures first. And now in lane 3, Paul D'Ambrosio is closing in on a potential push for third, but he will settle for fourth behind Jiang in third. Mitchell will take fifth. In sixth is Joseph Scarola, Hamakiotis seventh, and Gorodetsky eighth. We had a disqualification, I believe. Was trying to listen in, didn't really pick it up, though I think there might have been an announcement of diving winners. Okay, that's why it sounded so low, Joe. It was an announcement from across the way. A final, men's 200-yard breaststroke coming up. Joe, let's meet the finalists.
Lane 1, we have Greg Terentiev, Baruch College. In lane 2, we have Liel Kabanayan of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 3, we have Andrew Rue of Brooklyn College. In lane 4, we have Rowan Hayes of Maritime. In lane 5, we have Ramiel Fangersh of Baruch College. In lane 6, we have Joshua Chiraya of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have James Bronoff of Gordon College. And in lane 8, we have Jordan Lynn of Baruch College.
All right, and this one's for Sports Nutnik. Seed times from lanes 1 through 8. 2:18.79 for Terentiev. Kabanayan, 2:16.59. Wu, 2:15.01. Hayes, 2:07.01. Fangersh, 2:08.10. Shariah, 2:15.80. Branaugh, 2:17.53. And Lynn, 2:21.87. And Joe, we got all of that information in with introductions of the swimmers only reaching lane 3. So we have some more time. Let's take a look back at last year's event and see how it played out. Men's 200-yard breast. It was Ramiel Fangersh who took the win. He is swimming in lane 5. His seed time only 1 second off the pace set by Rowan Hayes. So this should be a very interesting race. Hayes was last year's winner in the men's 100-yard breaststroke. So Fangersh will try and defend his crown. I believe he was announced as Ramiel, not Ramiel. So I wanted to make sure I corrected that as well. But important to note, Joe, as well, Baruch, 4 swimmers in this A final. Roberts Wesleyan just 1. So with those 2 programs battling for the top spot in the men's standings entering the night, this is another potential swing event. If Baruch can take 4 spots ahead of Roberts Wesleyan, that would be big. Either way, you have 4 swimmers in an A final. That adds up very quickly.
So based on our seed times here, once again, is Rowan Hayes, who is the predictive front runner for this particular race. But again, based on seed times, as we've seen earlier in some of these races, that's not necessarily what you want to directly go off of. So for Baruch, we do have the 4 swimmers in this race. They have a puncher's chance of being able to win this race, to place a couple of top 3 finishers, and to maybe cut some distance between them and Roberts Wesleyan in the point standings.
We are underway in the men's 200-yard breaststroke A final, and it appears that Rowan Hayes was first to the wall by a narrow margin. In the breast, the underwaters always key off of those turns. You can see both Hayes and Fangersh traveled probably over half the length of the pool.
Yeah, I was going to say it was half the length of the pool to be exactly
easy.
Just past the G there. So for everybody who's listening and watching it at home, once again, they did the same thing there. Again, that's interesting strategy, and that's something that I think maybe we got to look more into, maybe for the event next year.
Well, very quickly, I'm getting set to conclude our diving stream. We have announced winners over at the diving board. You can check that out on our second stream. But for the rest of the night, our focus remains on the main competition pool. And it is a body length lead in lane 4 for Rowan Hayes.
He got a lot of momentum, Joe, following that last touch. Let's see if he could do it again.
Every turn key. And it looked like Fangersh closed the gap a bit off that turn.
And again, he stayed underwater there after that particular touch for a little bit of a longer period of time. And that seems like how he's been able to just kind of keep this a little less than a body length here.
And it's not how far you travel underwater, it's how quickly you get there.
That's right.
You can travel a very long distance, but if it takes you a while to get there, it doesn't really matter.
Coming on the final stretch of this, Joe.
It looks like Hayes has enough separation, but Fangersh is pushing him. And Hayes takes it by less than 0.4 of a second. It is Hayes 1, Fangersh 2, Kabanayan 3, Chiraya 4, Wu 5, Branaugh 6th, Terentiev 7th, and Lynn 8th.
Nice job by Hayes there, holding off Fangersh literally by an arm's length.
All right, an announcement coming over PA. There's certainly a break, as we suspected, following the 200-yard butterfly, which is coming up next. There will be a break ahead of our final event, which is the 400-yard freestyle relay. They just announced a coaches meeting during that break following the 200 fly. Meanwhile, Joe, we have just one heat in the women's 200-yard butterfly. It's our A final. 5 competitors in lanes 2 through 6. We meet them now.
In lane 2, we have Helen Bueller of Baruch College. In lane 3, we have Juliana French of Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 4, we have Elise Alexander of Baruch College. In lane 5, we have Leon Winter of Hunter College. And in lane 6, we have Lily Foisey of Gordon College.
And Joe, why don't you give us those seed times as well?
So for Bueller, we get 3:15.78. For French, we have 2:51.56. For Alexander, we have 2:13.24. She will be the pace setter in this upcoming race. In lane 5, Winter, 2:41.43. And we have in lane 6, Foisey, 3:03.11.
We'll take a look back to last year's 200-yard fly event as well on the women's side. In the 200 fly last year, it was Elise Alexander who swims out of lane 4. She took the win. That was one of her 3 individual event victories. And I said it, Joe, on night 1, any other year, she may have won swimmer of the meet. And we will see if she's in that conversation following the conclusion of competition this weekend. You'd have to think so. But you mentioned the seed times, and coming into this event, Alexander, a massive favorite. Her seed time well over 20 seconds ahead of her nearest competitor, close to 30 seconds better than the next closest seed time. That belonged to Leanne Winter during preliminaries. She occupies lane 5. When you have an event like this, an A final, just 5 swimmers, an event where no school is going to score massively significant points, I think the win in this one, or taking second over third, looms just a bit larger.
I like your analysis. Does Nick like your analysis?
Well, Nick has a lot to say.
He always has a lot to say. The question is it too much or too little?
Ooh. You're his co-host. You tell me.
I think he does a good job of splitting speaking duties, right?
Then I agree. No
You know I'm
complaints
right.
here.
I got it in.
Well, I already shouted out the podcast beginning. Award-winning.
Got to use the line a little bit more, though.
Okay.
We give you permission.
Well, you really have no choice. I'm always right.
32.6 for Nick at home, looking for those seat times for Alexander.
Well, that's the split time, Joe.
Split time. Sorry.
He appreciates a good split time, too.
He does.
Well, Alexander's lead is massive.
7 seconds, just about.
Yeah, but that was expected based on the seed times. I think it's a matter of, 1, can she surpass the seed time? 2, can she surpass her winning time in this event last year, 2:14.91?
Stay tuned and you will find out.
You'll find out in less than 40 seconds. That's about the buffer that she had following that last touch.
I mean, the pace of today has just been going.
I am almost certain that they've sped up the pace of the program. I can't recall.
What's that old saying? Time flies when you're having fun, right?
That's true. Time flies when you sleep through the break as well. I woke up, it was time for the 1650.
We have to adjust that.
The B final.
Swims doesn't work.
And Alexander does best her time from last year.
2:13.71 officially.
That did not surpass her seed time.
She's
But
about 5/10 off.
it is going to be Leanne Winter coming in with her final touch to take second. 2:37.18 for Winter.
Nice job for her to slightly surpass her seat time for about 4 seconds. Joe was just given a nice special delivery.
Well, we got our microphone back from diving.
As you said that, it's Juliana French from Roberts Wesleyan in lane 3 at 2:52.75, touching in third. Boise in lane 6, excuse me, finishing in fourth. Bueller just about to touch up here. She will finish in fifth with a time of 3:11.71.
Hopefully I didn't make my presence known in the scoreboard camera there.
Next event is the men's 200-yard butterfly.
200-yard butterfly B final for the men coming up.
Have a B final and an A final and then a break.
Swimmers take their positions at the starting block. Let's meet them.
In lane 3, we have Eric Umkiv of Brooklyn College. In lane 4, we have Louis Coronel of Baruch College. In lane 5, we have Parker Endress of Maritime College. And in lane 6, is that Zura?
I would say I'm going to try and take this one. Zura Shakardashvili.
Yeah, I think you got it right. Shakardashvili. That wasn't really overly difficult to pronounce. You need the second to just
speak for yourself.
Get the 3-4 syllables out correctly.
I think we did pretty well.
So he is in lane 6, and he's swimming from Brooklyn College.
Brooklyn represented by a pair of swimmers in this meet, SUNY Maritime and Baruch, occupying lanes 5 and 4 respectively. It is Coronel with the lead. Now, Nick wants your podcast to sponsor a relay next year. I was trying to take a look through our program and our meet sheet. Do not see any more sponsored events this year.
That's a shame. Leave some window of opening, right?
Well, should I sponsor every meet under different aliases? That'd be fun.
That would be hard to keep up with, but yes, it would be fun.
Only because I would read them on the air. But for those who do sponsor an event in the future, you can have your sponsorship acknowledged here on the PDF Sports Network. Or you could sponsor the PDF Sports Network as well. Double trouble. Coronel maintains his lead. That lead is about 6 seconds. Maybe a quarter of the pool's length. Perhaps a bit more. He's headed for his final touch now. Once again, his seed time that he's looking to beat is 2:22.31.
On the current pace he's on, Joe, he's going to come very close to that.
I think he's got it. It's a matter of, will he come in under 2:20?
I think he will. 2:19.
Yes, he does.
2:19.81 officially for Louis Coronel. The winner, the men's 200-yard butterfly. And in second, we have Parker Endress with a time of 2:23.51. It's like Umkiv from Brooklyn College in lane 3. Will be touching in a couple of seconds. He will be finishing in third.
When you have two swimmers from the same program left going in the pool, sometimes you can call it the race for bragging rights, but Umkiv in well ahead of his Brooklyn teammate. And with this final touch, that'll send us to the A final in the men's 200-yard butterfly, our final individual heat of this Mets championship weekend.
Playing some instrumental stuff over the loudspeaker here.
You and I can't shut up during that time, Joe, because we have to avoid those copyright strikes. I say it every time. We always go silent to take in the music track and see what they're going with, only to realize, well, we can't let it go too long.
So in lane 1, we have Taranto, right? From
Ethan Toronto.
Even Toronto. So like the city.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At least that's how I've seen it pronounced every time I've encountered that name in the past.
He's in lane 1 from Mount St. Mary's College. In lane 2, we have Michael Kravitz from Brooklyn College. In lane 3, we have Tenzin Gurung once more from Baruch College. In lane 5, we have Theo Dietrich of Gordon College. In lane 5, we have Josh Meese of Roberts Wesleyan University. Lane 6, we have Michael Guzman of Baruch College. In lane 7, we have Alex Osipenko of SUNY Maritime. And in lane 8, we have Eric Goldstein of Baruch College.
All right, seed times coming in once again. We'll take it from the top. Lane 1 down through lane 8. Toronto, 2:11.48. Kravitz, 2:06.70. Gurung, 2:05.15. Dietrich, 2 minutes, 0.92 seconds. Mies, 2:04.58. Guzman, 2:06.49. Osipenko, 2:11.25. And Goldstein, 2:18.93. So if you take the first place and the last place swimmer among the 8 finalists, take their times during prelims and toss them aside, the rest of the field all within about 6 seconds of one another. So this could really go in any direction.
Yeah, we had a couple of these last year, and if I recall correctly, because I remember a bunch of similar swimmers from this time last year. That's how good my memory is. I don't remember, again, who won this event last year.
All right, well, I can tell you if you want to take a guess. He's in the seat.
He's in what?
He's in the seat. The winner.
Dietrich, right?
Dietrich did have a win in both the 400 IM and the
Was
200
it Kravitz?
back.
No.
Kravitz also had a win last year, but that was in the 500 free.
Race, right.
It was Michael Guzman of Baruch. This is his senior season, and barring a year as a graduate student, this could be his final individual swim. He would love to close out this meet with a win for the Bearcats. And first to the wall, it appeared, was Dietrich of Gordon College swimming out of lane 4. His lead, a narrow one, headed for the touch pads.
So his first split time coming in at 25:45. Gurung in lane 3, just behind him, and then Kravitz in lane 2. As of right now, he's in 3rd. But again, they're the swimmers currently in lane 2, 3, and 6, Joe. Not really much separating them at the moment, but Dietrich still leading the pack.
Well, I mentioned if you toss Dietrich seed time aside, the rest of the field outside of the 8th spot. Very close. Dietrich well ahead of his next closest competitor in this event. Nearly 5 full seconds, make it close to 4 full seconds, but that's still a nice-sized margin from 1 to 2. And he's showing us why he was able to post that prelims best time in this event right here. We're closing in on the final 50. So Dietrich will have about 36 seconds to best his seat time. He's going to take this one. The only question is by how much. The race for second, fairly close between lanes 2 and 6. Kravitz and Guzman right now, the top contenders for second, as Dietrich heads for the touchpad and a first place finish.
And he will best his seat time, Joe, by about 5 seconds.
1:55.08. No other swimmer coming in under the 2-minute mark as Kravitz takes second at 2:01.57. Guzman 3rd, Gurung 4th, Mies 5th, Osipenko 6th. In 7th, it is going to be Goldstein, followed by Toronto.
With that, Joe, we are going to prepare for our break. Hopefully we're still online.
We are very much online.
Very good.
As the meet is going to head to a break, it will be a 20-minute break. They announced a time of 7:47 for the beginning of our final event, the 400-yard freestyle relay. That is coming up next following this break here on the PDF Sports Network. And we are back from the Sunny Werblin Recreation Center with our final event of the evening. It is the 400-yard freestyle relay. And we do have 2 heats on the women's side. I might have misspoken and said that we had just 1 heat earlier. But in case I did, correct the record now. And it is SUNY Maritime in lane 3, John Jay in lane 4, and Brooklyn in lane 5.
I don't know if you got the audio on in time for the PA, but for anybody who missed it, it was loud and clear. And the words that came in were, "It's relay time!"
Well, I'm glad you picked it up, Joe, because that's how Nick and I introduced every relay all weekend.
That's right.
I don't recall if we had any other multi-heat relays. I'm sure we did. Either way, headed for the touchpad. Through the first 100, it is a very slim lead for John Jay over fellow CUNYAC program Brooklyn. SUNY Maritime sending in their second swimmer third. The lead growing for the Bloodhounds to about a body length. We always make the disclaimer when it comes time for relays. We do not have a list of the swimmers. So unfortunately, we do not know who is in the pool at a given time. Trying also to adjust the frame around our scoreboard a bit. We broke down our diving stream and camera became just a bit skewed.
Well, as you work on that, John Jay continues to maintain their lead, which is just under 6 seconds over Brooklyn College.
That lead for the Bloodhounds now a sizable one. I'd say it's about a third of the length of the pool. Seat times very quickly, 4:14.96 for the Bloodhounds, 4:27.79 for the Bulldogs, and for the Privateers, 4:36.85. So some decent separation between these three programs during the prelims. So often, and I've seen it working in college athletics in an SID role and a broadcasting role, so often it is the relays that set program records at conference championships, and even if you're not scoring A finalist points, you could be setting a new program record at an event like this. So these relays, though they may not reflect in the final standings as heavily as an A final, definitely important to these programs, to these swimmers in the pool. The lead for the Bloodhounds has only grown about 3/4 of the pool's length, so I'd say pretty close.
I'm going to say we were over 3/4 of our way into the race over here. After that last split time, John Jay once again maintaining a lead.
It's the final 25 for the Bloodhounds. It's going to be a comfortable win for John Jay. Question becomes now, who is going to take second? That race has tightened up quite a bit.
Vast improvement from their seat time, about 10 seconds.
You love to see that.
Seems like both Brooklyn and Maritime are ahead of the pace that they had for their seat times as well. Let's see, just about can confirm that, yes.
So 4:26 for Brooklyn, 4:25.93 for SUNY Maritime. Both improvements. The Privateers improving by over 10 seconds. Very similar to what John Jay did. And with that, we head to our A final. Lanes 2 through 7 will be occupied in our final heat for the women's 400-yard freestyle relay. Joe, give us the lane assignments.
Lane 2, we've got Gordon College. In lane 3, we have Hunter College. In lane 4, we have Baruch College. In lane 5, we have Roberts Wesleyan University. In lane 6, we have Sarah Lawrence College. And in lane 7, we have Mount St. Mary's College. So have some time here as they're still walking out to position themselves. So I think we'll break down the seat times as well, Joe. Seems like entering this race, it is Baruch with 3:47.58 leading the way. Roberts Wesleyan 3:48. Hunter College at 3:49. Those are the top 3 times that we see.
Each team being introduced over public address as we speak, just moments away from our final women's event of the weekend. And Joe, we touched on it at the top of the broadcast. Entering the night, the women's meet was, I think by my estimation, as close as I've ever seen it. And I think that would be accurate, certainly for us, entering night 3 during any of the 5 seasons that we've covered this meet. And there's really no way of telling where the teams stand without the live statistics. I would presume those are available on Meet Mobile. But for those following exclusively through our broadcast, you don't really know. And an event like this could ultimately decide who wins this meet.
Yeah, and I like that aspect for it because, I mean, again, I wasn't here Friday and Saturday as Nick was here. I was here 2 days last year when this was going on. But it's almost like, again, with us not really locked in on how the points are and the standings are moving, like, you know, after this and then after we finish with the men's 400-yard freestyle relay, which will be our final race, that final announcement over the PA with the schools and the finishing, that's a true surprise for us.
Yeah, very much so, and I think that adds to the intrigue a bit. I don't mind not knowing the exact score race to race.
Right, I agree with that.
Though if we had the ability to put those scores in the upper right corner, I think it would serve us well to do it.
The early stages here, it's Hunter College with a split time of 27:89 and 53:33 showing on the clock. Currently maintaining a lead. Seems like the 2 schools who are closest to Hunter right now occupy lanes 2 and 4. So that would be Baruch College in lane 4. And that would be Gordon College in lane 2 is Roberts Wesleyan now after I said that, after a couple of swim strides closing the gap there. But again, it's still Hunter College maintaining about a 2.5 second edge.
Hunter with a nice advantage now of about maybe 2 body lengths here. It's anybody's race for second at the moment, but Hunter is doing well through the second leg in this relay. Third swimmer into the pool for the Hawks, joined by the Red Hawks and the Bearcats, as well as the Fighting Scots. And it appears every program has entered their third swimmer. Add the Griffins and the Knights to that group. Hunter still maintaining their lead. These splits will be very telling. And you can see Roberts gaining a slight edge on Hunter, a strong leg, or I should say a strong 50 for Sarah Lawrence there. Could be the start of a strong leg. And they've inserted themselves right back into the picture in lane 6.
Roberts Wesleyan closing the distance here, currently in second. Definitively in second, looks like Baruch in lane 4, currently in third. Sarah Lawrence again, not too far from behind Baruch, but now Roberts Wesleyan making a big push here against Hunter, Joe.
Well, this crowd has come to life, and as you said, Joe, Roberts Wesleyan now stroke for stroke with Hunter. And by the time they make this next touch, they may be ahead. It's going to be close.
Hunter still maintaining a very minor league of 600ths.
That's Roberts taking the lead by 6 100ths.
Oh, you're right.
And that lead is growing. Final 25 here, and Roberts Wesleyan has a lead of about half a body length. Hunter being pushed for second place in lane 6 by Sarah Lawrence. It's going to be Roberts 1, and Sarah Lawrence overtakes Hunter for second. Hunter settles for third, Baruch 4th, Mount St. Mary 5th, and Gordon 6th. And how about that shakeup from the seed times, Joe?
I was going to say Sarah Lawrence from about, again, you know, we don't have
the final
swimmers'
200,
names,
Joe.
But the final 200, that final swimmer was able to erase a lot of distance. Very nice job by them. with a strong finish, finishing in second. And in terms of their seat time, more than 5 seconds better. That was enough to give them a really well-earned second-place finish.
And that's big for them, Joe. Keep in mind, they entered the night leading the women's meet.
That's right.
So that could be a really big victory for them, or at least a big second-place finish that earns them a few extra points that we don't know for sure, but they could be a difference maker. Men's A final, the only heat, and our final heat of this weekend at the Mets, 400-yard freestyle relay. Joe, give us the lane assignments.
Do I get to say it's relay time again or no?
We can say it together.
All right.
3, 2, 1. It's relay time!
That was pretty good. I like that. So for lane assignments, we have Brooklyn College in lane 2. We have Gordon College in lane 3. Baruch College in lane 4. Roberts Wesleyan University in lane 5. We have SUNY Maritime in lane 6. And we have Mount St. Mary's College in lane 7. And once more, Joe, for the men's side of things, was a little tighter up top between the top 2 schools than it was on the women's side of things. Roberts Wesleyan has a lead against Baruch. To your point that you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, it is the relays here that offer the biggest opportunity to cut into the standings here. It's a big race for Baruch here. Let's see if they could do something as we check out the seat times.
Admittedly, Joe, it's been a big night for Roberts. I don't know if even a Baruch win over Roberts in this one could be the difference maker. The separation between those two teams entering the night was nothing like what we saw on the women's side. I think it was Roberts plus almost 80?
Yes.
Or 100?
About 100 points.
Yeah, it was in that range. Approximately.
While the top 5 women's schools were all separated by about 60-ish points between the top 5. And it was about a
68.
About 10-point difference between each individual school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So close on the women's side. And that's what you like to see, parity. That makes for an interesting championship meet and a lot of fun entering the final night.
And just like the seat time total, it is Baruch here. And once we get that touch.
Well, in lane 6, SUNY Maritime through the first 100. They came in ahead of the pace of Baruch.
Ferocious pace here for Maritime. Seemed like they were stride for stride with Baruch in that first 100, and then this next 100, definitely neck and neck with Baruch here, but it looks like Baruch is going to overtake them on that touch.
Yeah, I think by the time we reach the back half of this relay, Baruch's lead could grow easily beyond a body length, and that's where we're trending right now. Their lead exactly a body length. It appears that both SUNY Maritime and Gordon trailing the Bearcats by that distance.
Roberts Wesleyan currently hanging around in 4th right now in this race.
Well, I think if you're Baruch and you can take first and Roberts Wesleyan only finishes 4th.
I was going to say that might be enough.
Well,
I mean, Roberts Wesleyan has had a strong day, but
that would
it would be
huge.
Their best case scenario.
That would be huge, Joe, but I'm looking at how the Redhawks have laid out this relay, and I think they've put their strongest swimmers in the back half. Based on what we've seen in terms of A final appearances and wins this weekend, I like the Redhawks to make a late push in this one, Joe.
There's nobody better in the business. Where else are you going to get analysis like that?
Well, I have been here all weekend. Have to earn that paycheck.
And you have been here the last couple of years, so you know how this works.
I'm closing in on half a decade. Following this event, I've made it half a decade here at the Mets. A lot of ground to make up for Roberts here if they're going to make that push that I mentioned, but a great entry for Peter Saw gives him every opportunity to try and close the distance. Final 50, Baruch still with a lead, and that lead for now appearing safe. This is a big final turn for the Bearcats and the Redhawks. Oh, Joe, it's going to be close.
Roberts Wesleyan making a push here at the end, Joe.
I think the Bearcats might have just enough, but maybe not. They take it. Less than 0.2 of a second, and the Bearcats take the win in the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
And the Bearcats over there, they are celebrating as they should. Incredibly well-deserved, but that was some push at the very, very end. It is Gordon College who's able to hold on for third place, Joe. SUNY Maritime in 4, Mount St. Mary's in 5th, Brooklyn College in 6th.
How's that for a fitting end to this weekend of competition, Joe?
I like that. Again, time flies when you're having fun.
Some
and
expert analysis calling that late push, right?
Oof. That was good stuff. Again, I always say, when it's good, it is great.
Well, now, Joe, we wait. They tabulate the scores, and shortly we will find out our winners.
Took about maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so last year, right? Because I mentioned before the pace that we were on last year when we started at 5:30. Everything kind of started wrapping up about 20 after 8, very close to 8:30. Based on when this final race finished.
All right, Brooklyn was disqualified in that relay, but that will not impact the final standings. They came in 6th.
That's right. So as I was saying, we're pacing a little bit ahead of where we were at this time last year as we prepare for the women's and men's overall final scores.
All right, Joe, while we have time, we'll refresh our audience on where the scores began the night. On the women's side, we said it before, 70 points separating the top 5. Sarah Lawrence, 675. Gordon, 642. Roberts, 622. Hunter, 613. And Baruch, 605. On the men's side, Roberts entered the night at 1,006. Baruch entered the night at 943. No other program with more than 576 points on the men's side. So it is safe to say the winner from the men's side will be either the Red Hawks or the Bearcats. On the women's side, it could realistically be any one of those top 5 teams. And it's very easy to forget, Joe, points earned in diving. Roberts with multiple divers. SUNY Maritime had a diver, and I believe Brooklyn had multiple divers. I think SUNY Maritime may have had 2 divers as well. Don't quote me on that.
I will not.
We do not have the diving included on our meet sheets. Well, I'll tell you, Joe, the Red Hawks contingent is celebrating like a program that just won a meet.
Yeah, again, with the men's side of things, Roberts Wesleyan performed very, very well overall today with multiple wins. So, you don't want to predict anything too far in advance. But considering it's just Roberts Wesleyan and Baruch at the top here, I think the Red Hawks celebrating over here on the side, that's probably validated a little bit, but we still got to wait for the women's side of things to come in.
Well, we're going to update our graphic for the final time this weekend and let everybody know that we are awaiting the final scores. Winner to be announced shortly. All right, I think they've just passed off the final scores, Joe. Shaking of the hands between Dan and our official statistician for the meet.
I don't know if there was a directive given this year that to move everything along,
No,
but
Joe,
again,
you're doing it again. Your
I know.
fingertips on that mic.
Terrible habit. But yeah, I mean, we mowed through this year. I mean, this sincerely felt like it just flew by.
Maybe next year you take on all 3 days. This very well could be your meet next year, Joe, because if we end up in 2 different places with one meet here, one in Virginia, I might take the Virginia trip next year, and then we'll have the alternate crew here, and then I'd be back in 2 years. So
a year off from Rutgers for you, huh?
We'll see how it plays out next year, but as I mentioned before, our crew also down in Virginia covering the NJAC Swimming and Diving Championship. A lot of familiar programs in that meet, teams that have competed here at the Mets in the past. But it seems like a lot of these conferences are beginning to trend toward the 9 to 10 team range. That's where the Mets are. I believe that's where the NJAC is. Where you and I work at the College of Staten Island, I believe the NE10 is also right around that number. There are always associate members sometimes. The Dolphins of CSI, an associate member of the NE10 for swimming and diving. But we're seeing that trend toward 9 to 10 teams throughout the region, and a lot of those meets taking place up and down the East Coast this weekend, all competing against one another. All right, I think the officials have given the green light to announce final scores. They are covering the equipment in the plastic one final time, and the announcement of our winners is forthcoming. The public address announcer taking it in. He's got the final scores in front of him, Joe. He looks a bit surprised, hand over his mouth. Is that a yawn or is that a look of shock?
Probably a yawn.
Okay.
I think so.
How appropriate. We have a song playing that mentions it'll take some time.
Take some time. It's not going to take too much time, though.
Well, everything will be all right. We're not going anywhere.
No, we're not. Not for a few minutes, anyway.
As always, we will stay here through the announcement of the meet winning programs and award winners. And then our final send-off will come when the winning teams take the plunge into the competition pool. And oftentimes, Nick, if not always, the coaches join them. Should we take a broadcast winning plunge off the diving boards one time?
I wasn't prepared to do that.
If I could take it
Next
off,
year I have to bring an extra swimsuit in my bag over here.
if I could take it off the trampoline, I say yes.
Would you do the high dive?
Well, the high dive is not the board with the give. I'd be the kind of guy who leaps off the diving board and hits the board on the way down.
I've always wanted to do it once just to kind of simulate one of those.
Top rope finishers?
No,
okay.
that's included. You know when people do like an upstate New York kind of getaway, or they do a very scenic type of hike or trail walk or something like that, and you get the scenery where you're on the cliff and you dive into the water with the waterfall. All right, the music stopped for a second. I thought that we were going to prepare for the final scores. Anyway, to finish my statement, I mean, you see those types of videos posted all the time on Instagram, right? So I think a jump off the high dive would simulate that, right?
Sure. That seems to me like more of an Instagram highlight reel moment, and you know how much I hate social media, Joe.
You're not on it.
I'm not on it. At least not under my legal name.
You got a couple of burner accounts floating around there, but
we have the burners.
But here's the thing: nobody's ever going to find them.
Yeah, you say that, and then you get an email at work for a business venture, and you wonder, how do they make that connection again? Oh, the music seems to be preparing us for an announcement, but I think it's that time, Joe. Turn it over to PA.
For the Metropolitan Collegiate Conference Championships. First for the team awards. On the women's side, in third place, Gordon College. In second place, Sarah Lawrence College. And your first place winner, Roberts Wesleyan University. Will the first and second place teams please come up to the timer's table to get your awards. All right, next to receive the second place award, Sarah Lawrence College. place trophy, Roberts Wesleyan University. All right, and now the final standings on the men's side. In third place, SUNY Maritime College. In second place, Baruch College. Please come up to accept your award. And your winner on that side, Roberts Wesleyan University. Roberts Wesleyan, please come forward to accept your award. It is now time for the individual awards. First, for the rookies of the meet. Please come forward when your name is announced. Your rookie of the meet on the women's side from Hunter College, Grace Villette. And the men's rookie of the meet from Roberts Wesleyan, Raphael Weber. Time to present the swimmers of the meet. Your women's swimmer of the meet from Baruch, Elise Alexander. And your men's swimmer of the meet from Roberts Wesleyan, Antwini Peterson. next award is the Divers of the Meet, being presented with the Joe Stetz Award. Your Women's Diver of the Meet from Roberts Wesleyan, Emma Dickham. And the Men's Diver of the Year from Roberts Wesleyan, Brody Baldwin. Outstanding Senior Award. Your woman's recipient from John J. Victoria Hatsis. Recipient of the Dick Confetti Outstanding Senior Award from Peru, Daniel Vassilkov. Our next event is the Diving Coach of the Year from Roberts Wesleyan, Jackie Boyd. And our last award is the Anthony Lisa Swim Coach of the Year. Your winner on the women's and men's side from Roberts Wesleyan, Sarah Smith. Concludes the 2026 Metropolitan Collegiate Swimming and Diving Conference Championships. Thank you for your attendance for all 3 days of the meet, and please drive home safely.
Joe Foreman back with you alongside Joe Calabrese as we just wrapped up the announcements of the winning programs as well as our individual award winners here at the 2025 Metropolitan Collegiate Swimming and Diving Conference Championships. And Joe, it was Roberts Wesleyan winning both the men's and the women's meet. So a big night for the Red Hawks. We expect them to potentially take their winning plunge in just a few moments, but the individual award winners being released as well. And Not really very many surprises there. We could have figured many of those through the performances this weekend. The Red Hawks sweeping the Coach of the Year awards in both diving and swimming. And it was really an impressive showing for Roberts Wesleyan throughout the weekend. Baruch, second on the men's side. Sarah Lawrence, second on the women's side as well. So they deserve a shout out. Also received runner-up trophies. And right now it looks like the Red Hawks are beginning to surround the pool. So we will stay here, assuming they take their championship plunge. But Joe, any final thoughts from this weekend? Of course, you joined us here for night 3.
Yeah, I joined in a little late to the party this year, but it was still a really fun party on Sunday nonetheless. Sunday Fun Day here in Piscataway, University of Rutgers. Roberts Wesleyan kind of tipped us off that they were going to probably be the winners on both the women's and the men's side of things, and that's exactly what happened here. Really impressive showing overall from all the schools. Last year, again, I don't know if there was a turnout. I don't know if it was as much as it was this year, but excellent job by all the families and friends turning out, showing out here. Joe was looking to
I was going
work
to
on
try
some
and
technical
reposition the
stuff.
camera, but we have a good enough shot at it. Roberts Wesleyan
taking their dive,
celebrating their win in both the men's and women's meets. And Joe, for us here on PDF, that wraps up 5 years here at the Mets. It's been a blast covering this event throughout the weekend, as it has been each of the last 4 years. And as always, we hope to be back for year 6. You never know what the future is going to bring.
You may not be here, but I may be. So again, we never know what the future brings. But considering the success of the PDF Sports Network here broadcasting the Metropolitan Collegiate Swimming and Diving Conference Championships here at Rutgers, considering the partnership has been a resounding success for the last 5 years, hopefully that continues into the future.
Congratulations to Roberts Wesleyan and to all of the competing programs throughout the weekend. As we said on Friday night, for many, this weekend saw them swim for the final time in their collegiate careers, and we hope that this broadcast serves as a bit of a time capsule for them and that they can go and look back on it fondly. Once again, congratulations to the Red Hawks, and thank you to all of our viewers who tuned in and made their voices heard in the live chat throughout the weekend. We love conversing with everybody, though admittedly, as a two-man crew operating 2 live streams, it can be a bit tough sometimes, but we thank everyone for their kind words and the appreciation they've shown us. We thank Dan and the rest of the Mets Swimming and Diving Conference for welcoming us back to Rutgers for a 5th year, and I think, Joe, that there's a very good chance we'll be back for number 6 next year. But
I would say so.
Until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Joe Calabrese. We thank Nick Durst, who also joined me on the call throughout the weekend, for the work that he put in. And once again, one more thank you to all of you, our audience, who tuned in here on the PDF Sports Network. Until next year, potentially, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and thanks for joining us here at the 2026 Metropolitan Collegiate Swimming and Diving Conference Championships.